And if they're longer
Yeah,
than you.
because now you helped to make it a bit easier for me.
Yeah.
That's what people do.
So you mean your version of Britain
Yeah.
is different from mine?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Well,
your time's different because now you're accepted. You
Right,
have to do,
'cause
but you're still not accepted.
Wait,
But it's still-
how fucking old are you?
I'm 39.
Oh wow! Because the way you're saying it, it's just
Yeah,
like
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 he's
your
24,
generation
25.
paved it for me.
Yeah, we did. We took the bullets for
Well,
you.
not you. Not
I
you,
did.
Not you.
We're first generation. We're first gen.
Maybe comedically, yeah, but not.
Yeah, comedically. Who else? Who else do you know above my generation who's Nigerian that was putting
second
anything
gen?
down?
I think you guys
I'm
are
first
second
gen. No, I'm first. My parents are Nigerian,
Should we
innit?
say this for the pod?
No, but
We're recording.
this is,
I'm recording now. Guys.
I mean, this is the bit that the audio people get. They get
Oh,
they get the good shit. And then like it comes the show and everyone's. But no, I thought second gen, first gen is something I genuinely don't.
First generation Brit basically means your parents are not from this generation, from this country, but they gave birth to you in this country.
I thought it meant.
So Caribbeans can go back to second generation because a lot of their parents were born here. However, our parents came straight from Nigeria.
I actually never understood this myself.
Mitch, can you look that up because I don't know if that's true. I don't want to go against you on this right off the bat. Just be like, for me, I don't think you know where you're from, mate.
What am I looking up?
First gen, second gen, third gen. Which it means? Because I thought first gen was like you are the immigrant.
No, first gen is they're not because this is not their generation. They're not. Their generation comes from Africa, so they come over here as immigrants and give birth to us. We're the
And then
first
you're the first
generation
gen
of those people.
And then second gen is
with my children.
because like But I thought I'm trying to remember.
First generation immigrant is a person born in a country other than his or her country of residence whose resident period in the host is or expected to be at least 12 months.
Can't they just put that down if you were born into a country? Like what's bare breakdown codes? And I was like, what?
Is that Wikipedia?
I don't know.
You can change it, bro.
I'm gonna update that, Mooch. Yeah, true.
That's the EU one, so
That's
the EU
it
one.
might change.
So what am I?
Your first generation.
Your first gen.
If your parents
your
are born in
parents
another
born-
country, so Asians have that. Well, a lot of people have that. But yeah, we're first.
So what are you?
I'm first generation.
You're both first gen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just an older generation of viewers.
You're OG first G.
I'm an OG. I'm the originals.
Yeah, okay.
I'm the ones who had to change our names.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, yeah, you did pay things and make things a little bit easier.
No, we definitely did.
Okay.
Wait,
Right.
you changed your name to Funmbi?
No, my name is Funmbi. But yeah, we took the wounds that you lot didn't have.
Now,
to
because
do.
now, when the compares ask me how to pronounce my name.
Michael.
No, that's
That's how you pronounce it.
First
like
joke
my
of the
second name.
podcast.
Odewale.
They asked to pronounce
Odewale.
and I guess they didn't do that to you.
When I was doing it, we weren't allowed in the clubs. Fuck asking my name. They weren't booking.
Yeah, what are you doing? The urban circuit? So they're like, we
We were
got
doing
it.
the urban circuits.
We
but
got to figure it out.
yeah, the urban circuits, it was what music do you want to come out to? That was the
Yeah.
struggle. It wasn't what's your name, bro. It's like, hey, what song do you want to come out? You have to
That's
come out to the
funny.
right song, Don. You come out to the wrong song,
Oh my
the crowd's
God.
not going to feel it.
Because I came up on the mainstream circuit, so it
Yeah.
still throws me sometimes when people ask what songs.
Of course, I came up on the urban circuit, so
Yeah.
you had to...
I've never been asked what song apart from during a Fringe show, and I'm just like, whatever, dude. Whatever.
Whenever do that at Black Show,
What was
Dan,
your
it's not
song?
going to go
What
down.
was your song?
I did a
One
Black
time I
show.
came out to Jamie Foxx and Kanye West, Gold Digger. Came out to everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Nothing-
That song got
nothing
the crowd
British.
pop.
Jaquan.
At that
Tipsy.
time, remember, you
Oh
see,
my God.
it's funny how
I
you
think
said
it's
nothing British. At the time, well, in my generation, we were heavy into American culture.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that was the only black representation in the world. So
Yeah.
only when grime and garage came out that we started actually listening to British artists like that,
Okay.
in that sense. But before that, it was very, very American. So you would come out to an American song.
Yeah, I mean, what? This would have been like,
2003?
2009, yeah, 2000, late 90s, 2000.
yeah, of course. Yeah, like,
What year did you start doing comedy?
2004.
Oh, okay.
what British artists are around back then? Like, British people weren't
Craig
around back then.
David.
Craig David.
Rodney P.
So
I don't know
solid.
who that
Skinny
is.
Man?
So solid. So you could come out to 21 seconds. That was a popular one to come out
Yeah.
to. But you have to get the right tune because sometimes the tune doesn't start like at a good moment. It's like a build up. You don't want the build up. It was like that.
Did they not know? I
Okay.
thought like there's like
DJ.
urban gig DJs be like putting it in at 1 minute, like bang.
You get
It's,
some
like,
work
straight in.
experience DJs, man. They just
Coming out to Power would have been good.
That
again.
was 2010.
Yeah,
And that was a remix.
at uni.
What?
Power remix came out. To
What's this shit? Am I
How
getting-
came out in like 2000, right?
yeah, there's a remix that came out in 2010.
Wait,
The original was like 2000.
I'm talking about Kanye West.
Oh,
Oh, no, I'm talking about Power Leaf for B.
Oh,
Pow! I'm Leaf for the B.
I was
if you
waiting.
don't know about me,
Yeah.
I was wondering how long this would take to happen. But I was like right off the bat.
I ain't
like,
even heard the Kanye West
before
song. Which was
before
that
the
one?
actual intro.
You know, you've
I
heard
think
Power.
today we might just
Oh, Power.
start.
Yeah.
Oh,
This has been good already. Like I don't want to, guys. Union Jackoff. Usually we have the big intro, but fuck it, it's been good. We're jumping in. Please welcome Michael Odewale.
Hello.
On Funmbi Omotayo.
Yes, right here.
Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Fucking yes. I was
Nailed it.
very concerned.
2 Nigerian names in one day.
2 Nigerian names in one day, or 3? Odewale?
Yeah, but you have to get the surnames in it.
I mean,
Everyone gets
Odewale
Funmbi.
Omotayo.
Yeah, everyone gets Funmbi. Funbi's not hard.
Funbi's not hard, but the spelling's hard.
Is
I don't know.
Funmbi, isn't it something else as well? Or is Funmbi a shortened version?
Odewale
of-
Funmbi is the full name.
That's the one.
Yeah, but I don't use that.
Odewale Funmbi.
Odewale Funmbi.
Odewale Funmbi.
Oh
It
boy.
means God's gift or something like that.
God's gift. You don't use
Oh,
that?
that's what Michael means, doesn't it? Michael means
Michael means-
like.
Michael's an angel name, no?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Michael. What's your Yoruba name?
Your urban name.
Yoruba.
Oh, Yoruba name.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
Yoruba,
so what's your urban name? And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, what the fuck are we doing here?
Huh?
Odewale.
Wale is your name? Your name's Ola as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Olawale or Dewale. Yeah, you should go with Michael still.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
It's too much Wale's in there.
Do you ever think about like a stage name?
Please. Nah, man. I always thought to myself, I'm not going to come out. Because, we grew up watching black comedy, innit? So, you
Yeah.
had the aliases, like,
Well, Jamie Foxx is his name.
But it's still a name.
It's still
You
Anna.
had motherfuckers with, like,
Oh, like,
Goon Block or something like
what is Hamburger Jones is...
That's a bit of an
That's
interesting
Def
one.
Jam, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
you had aliases a lot,
Yeah.
Smikey P.
But the alias is just for, like, ease of pronunciation or for, like...
For coolness, innit? Like a
coolness,
rap,
okay.
like how rap people had names. Like,
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
figured,
yeah.
I should go with a kind of name,
Rappers are getting lazy. They're just going with the names now.
Yeah, the governments now.
And a lot of littles.
Chance to rap 'em.
A lot of littles,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot
Well,
of
Lil's has always
Lot
been
of-
around.
There's always been a lot of size in rap names.
Yeah,
You know what I
But
mean?
when did
Like-
little become good?
When Lil Richard did it. When he started
There's no
it.
bigs. Well, no, really. No.
Yeah, everyone's lost
Yeah,
weight
it's
now.
a
Fat shaming is a thing,
Big
man.
Daddy Kane.
Big
Daddy
pun.
Kane.
You know the best
IG.
part? He actually
Yeah.
wasn't, but hold on, he wasn't big Daddy Kane. He just meant I'm big. As in, like,
Notorious B.I.G.
weight.
I mean,
No,
everyone-
not
yeah.
weight, as in stature.
Oh, right.
Big and Fat Joe, they were weightish big. That's what they meant with that big. That big's gone now because fat shaming, isn't it?
Fat
Who's the rapper
shaming.
that died
Rap
from being
shaming.
fat?
Big pun.
Big pun.
Fat Joe lost weight, and then that was the worst thing that happened.
That was
to
the end of his
hip-hop.
career.
'Cause
So
we're
did Rick Ross.
Can't really.
Yeah, Rick Ross. Yeah, what happened to him?
Yeah,
That
it's
was since he was
like-
thin.
His grunt don't sound the same anymore.
Yeah, once they started working out, it's like the hits went down. It's like I preferred when you were,
bass
but yeah,
lost.
it's such a shame,
So I mean, I'm not sad to lose Rick Ross. The only thing that I care about Rick Ross is that Cat Williams thing where he comes out with Hustling and like, with the
yeah.
DJ. You were talking about work experience DJs. That guy was the best DJ ever. He hit that
he
cue
rehearsed
every
that.
time.
They rehearsed that the whole day.
Of course they did. It's like, sir, don't play it again. And,
Yeah.
like after every time.
That
Oh,
was
it's
a
the
common
best.
thing on the black circuit. Then people would just come out to a music thing and be like, when you're in your car, then play that music, DJ, and then he'll do the whole.
Cat Williams, like
routine.
he's up there, man. People, well, at least like if you look at 2 or 3 of his specials, they're really like high quality.
He's
Like,
very.
and he talked about stuff.
He talked about what he cared about, which is what I like.
No, because it wasn't just like dumb. He would talk about like politics in his own way. Like he was up there. Yeah.
I mean, that one, like the most recent one with the Jacksonville thing, which is like my favorite thing
That
of
that
all
was
time.
so weird to me because it was a whole 10 minutes
On
on such a
Jackson.
specific area, and it's like this is not going to translate. But at the same time, it's very fascinating to see how much he knows about this very specific
But
place.
that's what you do, innit? You go to a town, just shout, man, I was at your town hall. Woo!
Yeah.
But it was. I saw
Dude,
you post on.
I posted it. Like it's paragraphs. Like it's
Yeah.
like 7 paragraphs.
He
of,
talks
like-
about the military,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
river.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, what?
The funniest bit was I put it up there, and then my friend commented being like, "I'm from Jacksonville, and this is my favorite bit of any comedy special
Yeah,
ever." And I'm like,
yeah.
"Is it accurate?" And he's like, "Every fucking word. Every word is accurate.
yeah.
Like that's how many
Because
times Cat's
people
been
want to
to
feel
Jacksonville.
validated. If you go to if I go to Nigeria to do a show and I just mention I had lunch in the local spot, they're gonna lose their mind.
Yeah. But like, this is for a Netflix global distribution.
Yeah,
There's gonna
but-
be people in Nigeria being like, "What the fuck is Jacksonville?"
But
Like,
fine,
what
but
is
they can
this?
Google it now. Do you see what I'm
Right.
saying? Because that's what we seem to think, that people have to get what we're talking about.
People
I watched
have to get what you're
I
talking
watched
about.
Boys in the Hood. I didn't know where Compton was, but I knew it was a good movie. And I Googled up Compton. And I was like, I don't want to go there. They're right. So, that's how we push culture forward, right?
But that's like you get context that they show you what Compton is. Like whereas like with the joke in Jacksonville, it's just like most cities only have one hood. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you're talking about your experience in Australia or my experience from growing up in Hackney, I'm not going to... I was always told to open it up for people to understand. I really believe that, no, you should just paint a good enough picture for people to want to actually look it up themselves. As if you're
Really?
good enough, if you're a good enough storyteller, you can translate that message without actually having to explain to them what that area is about.
I get that. That's an interesting way to put it. It's
Because-
definitely not. I'm like, I never research anything I talk about on stage because I never want to I never want to know more than the people I'm talking to. Like I want to remember it like they'll remember it.
Okay.
Like I have things where I talk about slogans and they're wrong. I've looked them up like subsequent. And they're just wrong, but they sound right. And everybody's like, yeah, that was what it was. I'm pretty sure.
When you have a joke, but it's not right. Like it's not factual.
That's why you always have to analyze what you're trying, especially if you're trying to make a point through the
If
joke.
you just don't, then you just be right.
Well, then I guess if
your joke is right. Like people, like the memory is the correct thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's how I think about it. Like your memory of that thing is what you're talking about. It's not the actual universal slogan. Like mine's about the Colin Kaepernick ads, and it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's just not the slogan. Like it's close. Like it's basically the same thing, but I've reworded it. And no one's ever been like, actually, sir, that's not the.
That's okay.
Do you know, I try and stick to. I hate being wrong, so
You hate being wrong.
Yeah, I try and get the facts as much as I can, so I can't be challenged on my
It's
point.
like a paranoid thing. You're worried the audience is looking at you like.
No, I did a joke about slave movies, and the punchline is about there's only been like 3 slave movies, and people are complaining. And I mentioned the 3 slave movies as Roots, Amistad, and 12 Years a Slave. And then every time I finished the punchline, it was like to me, you forgot Django. And then but I practiced for that before.
You were prepared.
I was prepared for that because I knew someone might say that to me, and because technically they could be right because it was a slave movie. But then I just came back with Django's not a slave movie. That's a romantic story because no slave kills an entire white family at the end of a movie and then rides off into the moonlight. It's just not the same genre. So I was ready for that.
No
but I didn't want to go on stage and do that. I was like, what about Django? Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right because your instincts might not kick in then and be able to deal with that there and then on stage.
I mean, I don't think audiences really want you to be wrong.
Have you ever been corrected?
Don't think so.
On stage?
Not on stage, not off stage. Never been wrong.
It's been a fruitful career. Dan's smashing it out here.
I mean, no. Like, I think so because I got like this thing where it's like, no one, like, what number can everyone in this room divide by? And the answer is 5 that I'm looking for. But if I leave it too long, so people be like 2, like shit like that. But you just you move them through it, and like they weren't. I got another one like what language do subtitles come in? Which obviously every language, but like I'm looking for English.
Yeah.
But like if you frame it, it's all a trick.
Yeah.
It's like you look at. I love that Patrice bit where he like has that whole thing about like if you lost your vagina, like this is from the past, so it's going to be a bit like this. You lost your vagina, how would you like please your man?
Yeah,
kind of thing. And like he lets the women shout out
everything.
And, like, the way that he frames it, they shout out like mouth, like anal, and then he's like, look, you've just reduced yourself to a series of holes.
Yeah, not tell better stories.
Learn
to play pool.
Learn to play Xbox. Like, And like, but that, obviously the way that you frame that, so like I've got to think sexually, please.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And that just shows how much women think of men, number 1. And number 2, they are not wrong because if most people women lost their vaginas, I know a lot of men, you could play Xbox all you want, man. It's gonna happen. We're gonna leave at some point.
Really? You wouldn't stick around?
I don't think most
but
guys
the Xbox 360 is just down the line.
I don't think most guys will stick around, man.
But you know what I mean?
Don't look at me. I don't know.
I don't think most guys will stick around, man.
Stick around? I think I'm loyal.
Think you're loyal?
I think I'm loyal. I don't know.
It's a test of time. It'll be a big test.
Loyal or lazy?
Loyal or lazy? Loyal. I'm actually very motivated.
You know what's funny is I think if a woman's man lost his penis, I think women would stick around.
You think they would?
I think you'd get more. Just be less hassle.
Generalizations. Yeah. I mean, I think we should speculate on what women should do. I think that's what we're positioned to do on this podcast. 4 dudes and a dog. The dog also a guy. So.
I just think women are better versions of us. We're very
But see, I think I get annoyed by that argument because I think it's sexist because it puts a greater expectation on women. You know what I mean?
So?
Like you expect more from a woman than a man. Yeah. And that bugs
I don't mean that. I don't. You know what it is? I don't
Yeah.
expect much from men. That's the problem. I think men are trash, in the basic sense. Look, come on, man. We do the most trashiest things as jokes.
As jokes.
Yeah, we just find shit. We find terrible things funny. Like your boy farting in the middle of a train. That's hilarious. My friend farted at a wedding, and we thought that was hilarious. There's no need to fart at a wedding. That's wrong. That's sacred. You know.
How close was he to the wedding? Like, was he this back row?
It was,
like
you know what it was?
row?
It was at the reception, and we were waiting to go into the reception, and bridesmaids and grooms were all just chilling, and he was on a bench. So he farted to the point where the bench vibrated. This is classic Mandem banter, right?
Yeah.
The look on his wife's face was a look of horror and shame. And that added to the fun.
The acoustics in a church are great for
That's right. And he couldn't stop laughing. I knew he was wrong. But it was just, to pull that off, it was great. Now all the women looked at us with disgust. And that's because they're better than us. They know that's wrong. But we were like, come on,
You
man.
tell me no women laughed in that moment.
None of them. They
Get
were
the
not
fuck
impressed.
outta here.
Well, not the ones that were around. Well, especially not his wife anyway. She was embarrassed. I thought it was hilarious. But I just knew
It was hilarious.
yeah, but it's
Contextually.
in a trashy way. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
In a mandem way, That's just how we
A mandem way.
that's what we call it. The mandem. The mandem
You
are just
feel like you're trash.
I have trashy ways as
So
a
you're-
man.
Are you trash?
I'm trash, but I'm okay with it. It's like how white people are okay. I understand that. Look, I understand there's racism, but I got to work.
Right.
I understand.
But what are we supposed to do?
That's what I'm saying. What am I supposed to do?
There's no room for self-improvement for any of you?
No, there's room for self-improvement.
We
But like,
improve
in terms
every
of,
day,
like,
man.
There's structural racism. Like, it's just like, hey, Dan, you got the job. It's like, that's great, but have you heard about a black guy?
It's like, come on, man.
Like,
Is
is that what I'm supposed to do? I don't know.
I feel for everyone's cause, but I just have to be real and understand that I'm not even the problem. I'm not in charge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even in charge.
Certainly not in charge.
I'm not in charge. So when it comes to if women say men are trash, I can accept that. I really can.
Just accept that men are trash?
We are. And I'm not saying
not change anything.
but no one changes. No one really changes anything.
But you can
If
change.
men-
Change yourself.
I'm a good man though.
For you to say men are trash.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Men are trash in the sense where
what are the trash things that you think you do as yourself?
as a man,
Yeah.
the trash things I do.
Or-
What in terms of that affect women?
Yeah.
Or just in general. I don't think it has to be.
keep it-
Yeah,
Agenda.
right. Maybe no. In general, I'm just a man in it, so I don't know.
How did your last few relationships end? Was it?
Are you,
Jeez,
a,
what
you a
is this
single
like?
man?
I'm single at the
Farting at a
moment.
wedding.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I mean, I'm not a dude. I have a sister in it, so I understand how to treat.
That's why you understand.
Well, I try and understand how to treat a woman because I want my sister to feel comfortable in the world. Do you know what I'm
If you
saying?
didn't have a sister, then
It's not if I didn't have a sister. It's like how I was thinking about this yesterday.
Right.
How you had a daughter and a son,
Sure.
and you got to
you would
that
love
time.
them more.
No, you got to that period where, and this is probably a trashy men are trash thing to say, and you get to the period where you have to talk to your daughter and your son about sex and going into the world and whatnot, and you would give your daughter listen, I'll tell her men are trash. They will do anything and say anything to get into your panties.
Yeah.
And you have to treat yourself with respect and know that a guy has to be into you before he's into you, right? You try and give her that,
Yeah.
and you look at your son and be like, make daddy proud. Go get him, boy. It's your time. That's the trash in me.
That's the trash.
That's the
Give
trash in
that
me.
speech.
Bruv, it's his time.
But you would
You
not
just
say.
want your son to just bang. That's what you're like. Fucking that'll make me proud.
We all want our sons to just bang.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm joking in that sense, but you know what I mean.
You wouldn't tell your son like, come on, man.
Nope.
You wouldn't tell your son to respect himself?
No,
I think dudes
no.
should respect
Why?
themselves.
I
before
didn't
they
respect myself. Who am I?
say a single man.
To channel that energy. No, I'm not saying I want him to respect himself, but you get what I'm trying
Why
to say with
can't you
that
tell
joke.
your daughter to be liberated? And
No. We know society doesn't accept that. Let's be frank here, man. Society does not accept that.
What is society?
Evil.
What is society?
What
What
is
kind of podcast are you turning us into?
Society is evil.
There's you,
Yeah.
and then there's you.
Okay, this is how I say it. No matter what I say and how I should be able to be treated as a black person, I know there's certain situations I can't put myself in because society won't give me the benefit of the doubt.
Name one.
I can't go up to a white woman and start yelling at her
would
because she
you do
cut me
that?
off in traffic. Because she cut me off in traffic. I can't
that?
go. No, you
In the
can't.
car?
No, you can't. I can't
Just
come
drive
out of my
off.
car and be like, "What are you doing, you stupid
You shouldn't
cow?"
do
that
that
to anyone.
anyway.
You're right. I shouldn't do that anyway.
never said
But
that
I know people that do it. I know someone
out
that
of
jumped.
the car.
Yeah, someone jumped out. Someone jumped out of a car and called my sister a black cow because he was trying to cross the street and she thought she was going to hit him or whatever, and he called her a black cow. So when you say people shouldn't do that, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if I'm having a dispute with a white person, there's a certain energy I bring to that dispute that I have to know is going to look bad if people are looking at it. If I'm arguing with Michael, I'll punch him in his face. It just looks great. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I mean by society.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I kind of get that.
Yeah, I know. Okay, for instance, when we were growing up and we started driving, we knew if there was more than 3 black people in your car, you're getting pulled over by police. We just knew that.
Right.
So my friend would be like, only 1 person in my car. I don't care.
But have you ever thought about just including a white person? Like, is that not a great option?
Put him in the trunk.
It's happened
You could have one of
before.
those inflatable ones.
It's
you know?
happened before, but we still got put over. So I said, "Fuck that." This is
Really?
just- yeah. Then
Oh
he
man,
didn't-
I'm so sorry. We're not holding up Aaron to the bargain.
He didn't help for insurance. He didn't help. But that's what I mean by society and how it looks sometimes.
What's that got to do with your daughter fucking?
You really
just
hell
how it-
bent on this
it's just,
hypothetical Funmbi daughter.
right. It's just, but my point wasn't that's how, I'm not going to give that speech to my son. What I mean is that's the trash in me.
Right, like you are.
I have
expecting-
the bias
You're
towards
happy to uphold those going forward to the next generation.
I could care less about the next generation.
What do you mean?
No one cared about mine. It's like,
People cared about your
No, they
generation.
You have
didn't.
a responsibility
didn't.
as a person, as a black person, even.
No, I don't.
Wait, why responsibility as a black person?
Exactly. I don't have a responsibility as a black person.
Your responsibility is to uplift black people going forward the same way you got uplifted. Okay.
You know what it is? It's such a policy that's been sold to black people that it's
Yeah, but-
our job to uplift ourselves through entertainment and sports. Yeah, you could be just
Yeah.
like him.
Just as a
I can't
person.
even play football, but hey, look at Henry.
As a person,
As a person, what do you mean?
as a black person,
Yeah.
we've all benefited from
How?
the hard work that other black people have put in
what
making
sense?
our lives easier.
In what sense?
I don't know.
Give me an
like,
example.
Whether it's from protesting or
Give me an example.
excelling in certain industries.
But give me an example. No, just because a black person excels in certain industries doesn't make your life better. It just means that if these industries weren't biased in the first place, a lot of us will have the opportunities and desires that we can actually do to feed our families. So the fact that Michael Jordan or the fact that Lenny Henry or Anthony Joshua looks good on television is doing a nice thing is not now a barometer of how black people should condone themselves, or if you just do what he did, you can get that. No, those are not the issues we face.
But it's two-tone. It's like one tone is like actually trying to attack the institutional side to get in, and then the other side is like representation-wise, seeing someone that looks like you.
That's a false commodity. It's the same thing they're gonna do with feminism and gay people and fat people. They'll just get everybody in a position where you can look at
Why
someone and
fat
say,
people in that?
because
Oh,
everyone's in the
that's
cause
great.
now. It's all in the same pot now.
It's
It's
not
not
the same as
it's not racism anymore. It's just general discrimination.
Nah,
Everybody
I
has
think,
to feel
I think
comfortable in the
racism
world.
is separate.
From fat people.
You say that it is separate, but it's all boxed together now.
I mean, it's closer than it's ever been, and like it's kind of like it's weird that I find it weird that people put on like Dave Chappelle. It's like, why don't you care about trans people?
Right.
And it's like because he's not
Yeah, I don't
trans.
want like fat
it's
people
kind of
being like,
different.
No, but
all in
what
this
what
together.
I mean
Like,
is it's
no,
like
it's
you
your
look at
business, it's
it's like you look at representation in terms of comedy in the media or television, and rather than getting actual platforms for people to actually tell real stories, what they do is they box everyone together. So here's our version of diversity: get a black guy, a white guy, an Asian, a gay person, a lesbian, and put them all on the same panel
That would be a
show,
great
and
show.
that's diversity, and that's a show.
I mean, that's a start, isn't it?
No, it's just
That's
a
part of
combination.
what's happening. That's not
No,
the
it's
only
a
thing that's
combination of
happening.
different worlds. What you want in diversity is a true story, a reflection of how you grew up in this country. So I grew up as a first generation Brit. Diversity is my complete story represented on television without it being doctored or put a white person in because we want our viewers in Scotland to watch it as well. No, what
That's
you want
business.
is right, but that's not how you caught, and that's why you still have the problems in society because you're looking at it from a business standpoint. So racism is now a business thing as opposed to an actual issue.
Well, no, like I think that's like inclusivity. I think is like a business thing to a
Yes.
degree, but it still can have good, positive,
It can,
real world
it can, but
impacts.
Chewing gum
But
was
it
good.
can. But those things that you create do not reflect how people feel in society. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well,
So
I mean-
people, to most people, because if you talk to people, they don't look at those things and think. It's like when you watch those movies with the black guy and the white guy, who the white guy is going to
Buddy
do
cop.
everything. Yeah, the buddy thing. He's going to do everything in his
Like Django
power
Unchained.
to protect that black guy. And you're thinking to yourself, where are these white people? Like, I have none of these in my life. And I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's like they create this society where everybody's just together. And then
what-
you
what
walk
you-
out and you're like,
But,
that's not
but isn't it
society.
supposed to show like an idealized view of the world? It's like everyone in the movies is like good
For
looking,
selling, yeah,
you know?
but to push the culture forward, you put real stories out. People tend to.
But surely that's
gravitate to
just
them as well.
happening over time, and like what America leading the way, Britain there, and then like Australia like way down.
That's
in
the
in
problem,
bottom.
you know. America leading the way, Britain leading the way. You know, it's always the same people leading the way. It's like you need to open up the door for everyone to have an opinion to say what their voices are.
We're getting there.
You getting there? You feel there's?
I'm not saying we're not getting there. I'm just not. I'm not going Does that make any sense? Like, I'm not on this we train.
Right, you don't want to be. You don't want to be lumped in with everything.
I'm just me creating my work. I'm not on this togetherness.
But get on the train. We'll get there first.
What I'm saying is this:
get the train. Bro.
You're never gonna see a day where black people are in the sun, like walking hand in hand, like saying we done it. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, that's because that's like there's no completion. We're just working.
Yeah. So what do you mean when you said I have a responsibility as a black person?
Your responsibility is to just keep chipping away
at what?
You know, because it's like that whole thing about you're planting trees that you're not gonna get the shade of.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like that message in it. You know, Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream," and he said at the point, "I might not get there with you. Yeah, I'm on a different wave. I'm coming."
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna create the world for these kids to be enjoying, and I want to live in that world.
Forever.
I don't want to live forever. But what I'm saying is, I'm not of that speech where it's like, let's create a better world for them. Let's do it now.
But you can still do that for you. There's plenty of people now doing that for them.
Yeah, but let's
simultaneously
doing it for now.
Doing it for the people in the future.
There's people living
the benefits immediately.
Okay, the people who the people who have the most wealth in this world are enjoying the best part of the world, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
If you think about it, you've got the money, you're doing the.
I don't know. Bill Gates seems like he doesn't have a lot of fun. I've never seen a photo of him being like just partying.
Yeah,
but that's what did you? That's just because he's claiming territories. You can't put that on Insta.
That's true.
you can't filter that and be like another country.
Have you not seen when they do the Microsoft launch when they party and they like go spastic? That's the funniest video I think I've ever seen.
They probably have like robots.
No, when Microsoft were the guys who started doing that, and it's just a bunch of like nerdy white guys just jumping up and down.
They've got paper, man. I'm sure he has his fun.
I don't want to be like Rupert Murdoch.
No one said you have to be like Rupert Murdoch, but what I'm saying is
another great Australian.
The idea. It's funny how
we've contributed so much.
I think Prince Harry was complaining about the environment. He's worried about the environment.
Yeah,
he's worried about the environment, and it's like I understand that, but bruv, you have money to do these things. We don't. We just go to work.
But like, I think he's using his platform to institute.
But it's true though. All you do is feed the machine. You wake up at 9, you go to bed at 5. What else do you do?
You
wake up at 9 and go to bed at 5.
that's the comedians.
How long has it been since you've had a job?
Sorry, I was talking about the comedian's life. What I mean is, you wake up at 9. I'm not doing that. No, but I'm still feeding the machine. But you wake up at 9. You go to bed. You go to work. You come home and you literally do as nothing as you can so you can prepare for the next day.
That's what you choose to do.
No, that's what majority of people do in the world. Otherwise, we have no economy. Otherwise, the system will not be able to feed itself.
I mean, but like, I think that's a very like reductive kind of like they all just go to the factory kind of thing.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong.
Some of them, their job is the environment thing.
Don't get me wrong. You can do Orange Wednesdays as well. You can go to the O2 and check out the latest Wizkid concert. But at the core of
the fuck is Orange Wednesday?
Where do you live?
You remember Orange Wednesday?
Yeah, I remember it, but you're showing your age. It's now Meerkat Mondays or some shit.
Fuck Meerkat Mondays.
Can someone get some references that Michael can understand, please? He's only 24.
Okay, Meerkat Mondays. I didn't know. I thought Orange Wednesday was still okay. Orange has changed to EE. Well, but my point is,
I don't need discounts.
The idea that we are going to the factory every day and just clocking in and clocking out.
Sure,
majority of us are.
There is that, but all right. Let me ask you one question. You guys say like the black identity. One thing that I didn't really get over here, because like Australia, we don't really have black people. Like we have the indigenous population, but they're a very small part of the population, and they're very distinct from any other like racial narrative in the world. We did not treat them very well. Every podcast, just laughing because every week they're like, Dan, you know you did that, right?
Like,
yes.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but you guys were cunts.
It's like if you're responsible for a genocide, you're aware.
Don't feel bad, man. Most people are being cunts anyway, so it's all good.
But that's recent. So
thank you for forgiving me on behalf of Aboriginal people.
That I don't really care about either, to be fair. But yeah,
they're dark skinned.
Carry on, Dan.
This is what I mean. Like, do you guys kind of like it's like all black people that you kind of take that? Because I thought that's like a kind of white person thing where like you guys are all in this together. Yeah, whereas like no, it's like they're African, they're Caribbean.
Well, that's the thing.
Aboriginal.
That's what I was trying to explain to Michael. The idea that I have a responsibility to every single black person that is on Earth is a ridiculous.
It's in you.
It's not in me. It's installed in me because that's the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. But the idea that one black person can represent the emotions and feelings of an entire world is unfair. You see what I'm saying? Because one, I'm Nigerian. I have Nigerian heritage. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my feelings and thoughts are not going to be the same to someone who's from the Caribbean or who's from Ghana or Kenya or Somalia. So I can't represent everything they feel. I understand the wanting of black people to thrive because of how much negativity you've seen most of your life. But it gets to one point where you start to understand that those images were not as a result of things we did. That's just the fears that people have put on us. So it's not, I don't identify as just being one thing, black, because it's way more diverse than that.
Yeah.
So
So you identify as Nigerian. Well,
Yes,
like, what is
at
it
the
like
core.
first and foremost, like British or Nigerian? Because like you were born
Nigerian.
here. You're Nigerian?
Yeah, I was born here, but you have to understand, man. You're a foster child when you're born into England from my experience anyway. It's like England's your home, but you're British as long as you're doing well. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So as long as you're Anthony Joshua, Mo Farah, representing the country, and you look at the names as well, they're anglicized, so they're changed. They're more easy on the tongue for the average white person to be able to celebrate that person.
Sure.
So Mo Farah, Anthony Joshua, these are names, Frank Bruno, Lenny Henry, those are celebrated names. And they're loved by the nation as long as they're doing well. And it's like, that now becomes the example of how black people should carry themselves. But the moment you have stuff like knife crime or grime or stuff like that, then now you start to highlight their origins. Oh, they're Jamaican parents or Nigerian born parents. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And
So
then
like
the
it's like
narrative changes.
English athlete Mo Farah
Right,
wins.
British English,
like
yes, MBE,
Jamaican grime, blah blah blah.
Jamaican grime
okay.
fraud is Nigerian, even though most of them are British and were born here, but it's a Nigerian stamp.
Okay.
And so they try and separate themselves from that world by highlighting their places of origin.
Do you think like the Nigerian thing for you was like a significant part of that was living there? Because like I know that you lived there.
Because I lived in Nigeria for 6 years. It showed me an understanding that the whole world is trash. You see what I'm saying? Like people were like to me, oh my God, what was it like moving to Nigeria? Were you scared? And I was like, if I told you then I was moving to America, you'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If I said I was moving to Compton, you'd start praying for me.
Right.
Because I could be dead by the next week. Do you see what I'm saying? But that was not America's narrative. America was...
Compton is distinct from America.
Comptonism, the hood.
Yeah, I know what Compton is.
Sorry. What I'm saying, but that was not what they pushed out to the world. You saw Beverly Hills and movies and Home Alone and stuff like that. So you think America's a great place. Whereas with Africa, you just saw poverty. So everyone assumed it was a poor place.
I think with like, especially, this is just my experience, like Nigeria, you don't even see it. Like I have no visual concepts of Nigeria. It's never been represented to me.
That's because our PR team is shit.
Well, the narrative is changing now. You know what I mean? Like, you got Afro beats and things like that, and the imagery of Nigeria, African nations in general. Is
Absolutely, because that's what culture does. It gives you a separate narrative of those people, and people are more intrigued about Nigeria now through the music, through the movies,
and that's also
stuff like that.
What time does as well, because time goes by, and like I said, people make things easier and perceptions.
Yeah, but you're looking at it from a different point of view, because you're not looking at the general picture, because that's Burna Boy. Burna Boy gets treated like that. Wizkids get treated like that. Try and fly your auntie who lives in Lagos to come and visit you for the weekend and see how much Wizkids influence bears on her visa application form. Exactly. That's what you don't understand. It's not about Burna Boy. It's about how Africans are treated when you're not a star. That's the problem we really face coming into the country. My brother, during the Ebola crisis, my brother has a Nigerian passport,
right?
And during the Ebola crisis, you obviously countries were not allowing Nigerians to come into their country, and I can understand that.
Sure.
But my brother has not been in Nigeria for almost 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So he's traveling with his passport to go and do a gig in Seychelles.
Wait, is your brother in entertainment as well?
He's a single.
Really? That's cool. So he's doing a gig in the Seychelles on the Nigerian passport. Comes back in.
So he's come from London. And flown to Seychelles.
Yeah.
Another Nigerian couple had come from Aberdeen they lived in Aberdeen. They were going on their honeymoon in Seychelles, and they were refused entry because they had a Nigerian passport.
They refused entry into the Seychelles.
Yeah, because they had a Nigerian passport because they were worried about the Ebola crisis.
But couldn't they just go through the passport and be like, you haven't been to Nigeria in like...
They did that.
Also, you're already there. You're going to give it to them.
Right. If I had Ebola, you're going to come this close. But they said they didn't let them into the country based on the fact they had Nigerian passports.
Wait, did you say what Nigerian people doing living in Aberdeen?
I did say that.
I've never been...
There's Nigerians everywhere. There's Nigerians in the North Pole. But that past,
Nigerians in the North Pole.
there's Nigerians everywhere. Wherever you can think of on this earth, there's a Nigerian community.
Well,
somewhere.
I had no idea how big Nigeria was. I did my little research this morning. 200 million.
That's not how. That's the unofficial.
That's the unofficial.
There's like 700 billion people in Nigeria. We just can't count them all. There's no way there's 200 million. We got more than that.
and like, is the UK the biggest population outside of Nigeria? Or is America bigger?
I would assume UK, but then because America have sheer numbers, it might be bigger. But I believe it's London, the UK. That's where most Nigerians came to in the 80s and 70s.
There's like 15 outside of London, but then they're around.
To be fair, yeah, I mean they populate the earth a lot, but
most of them in Peckham or there's a lot.
No, they're not in Peckham no more. They're in Barking, Thamesmead. We used to be South London a lot.
Right, but you grew up in Hackney.
I grew up in East London, Hackney. Yeah.
So is that like a Nigerian community or?
It was a Caribbean, Nigerian, working class white people and Asians.
Right,
So
that was
everything. Melting pot. What
It was melting
about
pot.
you, Michael? Where were you?
Dagenham. So yeah, it's been the same. It's been a lot of Nigerians there, a lot of Asians, not so many whites as there used to be, but they're coming back a little bit.
White people?
Yeah, they're coming back a little bit.
Man, we tend to make a
They
comeback.
vote a lot. They vote a lot.
They vote a lot.
Barking was rough back in the day. Well, Dagenham was rough back in the days, boy. That was wild. Although when I grew up in like it was more identity struggle that we had.
Right. But to have like a Nigerian identity.
We were ashamed to be African because it wasn't.
Why is that?
Because the images, like I said, our PR team wasn't doing a great job at the time.
Sure.
So the images of Africans was always one of poverty.
Okay.
So you kind of were ashamed. You didn't want to say your name.
Right,
You
yeah, I
didn't
even
wanna-
remember like in the earlier days of my like people would make. He's not related, kind of, but the dark skin.
Yeah, well, that was
African,
colorism, you know, the dark skin thing. If you were black, people took the
you were
piss out of you.
black,
If you were light skin, you
lit.
kind of got an easier ride.
Right. So
But
the
then your
blacker
name
you
as
are,
well.
like,
Yeah, you get taken the piss out of.
okay.
Yeah.
But even that, like now, there's more pride in being dark skin. I don't go to school anymore, as you. I don't know if they would run those same jokes with like, if you're making jokes about someone being dark skinned, I don't think that would like.
Was that like that? Wouldn't be white people making those jokes, right?
No,
Was that,
this
like,
was more
within the
black people.
It was,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
self-hate.
This was more like black people. This was like
Well, that's what I figured because like I don't think we know enough.
They didn't
To make those jokes,
We were
you
all
know?
black to everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like,
But
to
the
the whites, everyone was black.
Yeah.
the
yeah,
funny
yeah.
thing is though, the conditioning came from white people because
Right.
that's how they separated.
Yeah, but then
black
they
people.
left and they were like,
But it's the mentality though. It's
Yeah.
not about what. It's not. If you abuse someone for 20 years, you can't say, "Well, I stopped abusing you 15 years ago."
Yeah, feel
It's like,
better.
Yeah, like come on.
Immediately.
When are you gonna get over the psychological damage I gave you?
but then it's like the bootstrap thing. Where do you mix like the personal responsibility?
Have you moved out of a white society?
Nah.
So then,
do
how are
mean?
you gonna? Have
No,
you
but
moved
when,
out of it?
But when does personal responsibility kick in terms of I want to not keep doing this?
When you decide, isn't it?
Right.
But then, how are you gonna? You can decide to not. You can decide to come out of prison and change your whole life, right? But if when you try and get a job and everyone's knocking you back and you can't shake that past, you can always fall back into going to crime, and that's what the case is. Yeah, we are not colonized by white people no more, or we're not enslaved by them no more, and we've been free for a very long time, but we're still in a white society, and so it's so easy to fall back into just going into, just basically trying to maintain.
I would say knowledge is power as well, I guess, because like say the colorism thing, when we were running those jokes in school, it was an unconscious thing. We weren't thinking about like, it was like an unconscious thing. We weren't thinking of like, oh, we're making fun of him for being dark skinned. Why would that be a bad thing? So it's only when you get older, maybe you read more, you learn more collectively. I think social media helped a lot as well, actually. But then you learn, oh, that's really bad that we were doing that, and then you learn. Once you know better, you be better.
That's why you have to learn, isn't it? That's why you have to pay attention to the mistakes of the past so you don't fall into the same traps. That's why I understand, well, not understand, but that's why I can relate to feminism a lot, because I understand what it's like to feel, I guess, less in society. Because women feel less than men in society. In terms of, if you look at the general voice, is like, you are above us.
Right.
And we want to be on the same playing field as you.
It makes you understand cancel culture in a way, I guess.
Understand cancel culture.
I guess like
Well, like having been racially
Well, no,
judged? Or?
because let's say people learn at different rates. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But cancel culture is like it's the not understanding of that, and be like, well, we know better than that now, but we're going to judge you based on what you didn't know.
But when you're cancelled, what's cancelled? When you're cancelled on cancel culture, what are you cancelled from?
Earning money. That's the weirdest thing.
Let's go back to the dark skin thing. Like 2012, let's say everyone was making dark skin jokes.
2012.
Let's say as soon as back then, but then someone's making it now in 2019. People be like, "You're cancelled." It's like I was still in. I thought we were doing the 2012 thing.
We're all doing that.
Yeah, and everyone was doing it back then.
Yeah,
but we were judging them.
I don't
from
think you get
2019.
cancelled for doing dark skin jokes.
I was just saying hypothetical.
Yeah, well, Maya Jama, the Stormzy's ex-girlfriend, they found some old tweets of her, and they tried to cancel her now.
They didn't try and cancel her though. They made noise, but you can't cancel her.
But that was their attempt at cancelling.
Yeah,
based on she was doing
like
this.
I said, you can't get cancelled for doing dark skin jokes.
But then you can't get cancelled for doing anything.
You can get cancelled. I mean,
who's
Louis
been
CK
cancelled?
was cancelled.
He's back. He's still doing shows.
He's doing shows in Europe, man. I was just in Milan.
Yeah,
he did
a
show.
You know what I mean by
3 weeks
cancelled,
before.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
I know what you're
if
saying.
he was in the game, he'd be having that Netflix special the week after Bill Burr's was released. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no, I like with your point, like about they're getting. Like now, if you do those jokes, everyone would be like, "What the fuck are you doing? That's crazy." And then you're just saying,
but
but is it because
they probably did it when they were younger?
Yeah,
right.
Fair enough.
But is that
fair
like
enough?
School though? Like school, everyone's just horrible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like you've not grown. I don't think we're cancelling you because of the jokes. It's like you haven't grown. Like we're cancelling because you're refusing to evolve.
But it's also internet. It's like everyone like there's a moral superiority thing that everyone enjoys.
I feel like in certain stages in life, certain things are not acceptable. Like if you're 15, you can't read like R. Kelly. That's unacceptable. You should be cancelled. There's no
if you
reason.
Can't read?
That's the most unacceptable thing about R. Kelly, though.
You just say he should be cancelled for not being able to read.
No.
Of all the things you chose.
What I'm saying is,
Funmi's about to get cancelled.
If at 50 you can't read them right, then you don't need to be doing colorism jokes or anything that's edgy because you need to get your priorities straight.
That makes his songs more impressive.
Just see what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying?
That makes it better.
Because you don't actually, because everyone says he wrote the song.
We should uncancel him because that's inspirational.
I feel like we're getting a little sidetracked there.
But you know what I mean, right?
Talking about colorism to defending R. Kelly, being like, it's impressive. He wrote like a hip hopper and he can't even write. That's
because he had a
what I'm saying is you have to really fuck up to get cancelled for doing some racist stuff. You have to really push the boundary. It has to be clear.
Team.
Who?
Roseanne?
Oh, the Clippers guy.
Roseanne.
Yeah, he lost his basketball team because he was racist.
Yeah.
In a private phone call to his girlfriend.
Did he lose his basketball team?
Yeah,
the LA Clippers.
Did he lose it?
Yeah. Or like he had to sell a lot of shares or something. But like,
what a punishment.
Hey.
He lost the thing that he had.
Really? Do you think he's eating out of a tin right now?
But
what do you want? What do you want?
How does he?
It's not the French Revolution. We're not chopping heads and
Why
stuff.
not?
Why
not?
So you should legally have your money taken, all of it.
No, but you're going on like
you gotta find.
You're going on like this man's been punished.
He has been punished.
I don't think so.
It's just not a punishment that's really affected
his only punishment was his only punishment. Yeah, is he's still alive.
How do you punish
That's
any
the only
billionaire?
punishment.
How do you punish any billionaire?
How old is he?
How old is he? Like
85.
He's like 85.
And they took his team away.
Yeah,
he was gonna die in 2 weeks.
They did. And can you imagine how confused an 85-year-old would be? Being like, you were racist. That's why your team's gonna go like, what?
Listen,
but I pay them. Like, come on.
Here's the thing. It was that story, yeah, and this is what I don't like. We jump on one person's mistake and we make them the scapegoat for racism. You understand? We forget this man was old. You understand? Yeah. He owns black people. That was not the first time he's been racist.
Of course not.
He's been calling those players the wrong names for years now.
Who's we?
Do you understand?
Who's we that's doing that?
Who?
You say we do that. Who's
society. The world, it's like Bulgaria the other day. Everybody, shame on Bulgaria. You're disgusting. Bitch, please.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to experience that this weekend.
In Italy, they've like banned bananas from football games. That's their approach. Like, we're not going to fix the racism. We're just not going to let the bananas in the stadium.
Like on the Saturday, there's no bananas in the town, you know? Yeah. What I'm saying is, that guy's not the guy losing his team at what 87. Do you know how much money he has?
He's just saying there are consequences for these actions.
Are there? There are consequences. You're right. But look at Danny Baker, for instance.
Who's Danny Baker?
The guy who tweeted the monkey of the royal family when the royal baby was born.
Yeah.
Like, he was treated with kids' gloves. Like, you know, so what I'm saying, for you to really get cancelled, like cancelled.
So no one really gets cancelled.
No, you
That
don't
doesn't
really
exist,
get
'cause
cancelled.
it's
You
a-
just fall out to the public.
What about
eye.
Kevin Spacey? Kevin Spacey's pretty. Come on, he had to self-produce a video in his kitchen.
He'll be
Like,
back.
there are YouTubers with more
He'll be
self-respect
back.
than that.
When,
Like,
when
come
you
on,
when you
man.
fuck up, you just have to really let the smoke go down. If I was him, I'd go to Africa. Do you see what I'm saying?
Kevin
Yeah.
Spacey?
You know why? Africans are the most forgiving people. As soon as they see a white person, they're like, it's Kevin
Not
Spacey.
you.
I'm not African like that. But what I'm saying is, you've seen the fucking not Band-Aid, comic relief commercials. They take Ed Sheeran and any white person
I have never
to
seen them.
Africa, and all of these people are excited. You think they know who Ed Sheeran
You
is
got to remember, like Australia, we got no exposure to Africa. We don't
at all?
We not really.
Okay.
Like I would say like, yeah, like very little. Like we're getting our first kind of wave at the moment. Like when I was in high school, it was like the first time that I kind of saw just like black people hanging out.
So can you imagine when
And
I
they
go
were all
to
Sudanese.
But
So
can you
like when you're
imagine when
saying
you-
you guys are black, I'm like, no, they're black. Like,
But can you imagine
Yeah.
when we go to these countries, everyone treats you as the umbrella of black.
yeah, of course.
So it's from all the movies and all the music you've seen. Do you see what I'm saying?
Dude, absolutely.
And that's
Like,
why when we go
I
into
still
those
have
places,
that in my brain. Like
Yeah.
when I see like black people, I'm automatically like they're cool. Like this is like these guys
But can you
like
imagine what it's
have
like
that.
for black people who are around black people who we know are not? They have no ounce of cool in them.
Yeah, that's me. Like white people say I'm cool,
You are
but I
cool.
know I'm around black people. I know I'm not cool. I'm not that cool.
Yeah, you're not that cool.
But then that's like they wouldn't be seen as cool to white people. They'd be seen as like that's a bit scary. Like I'm
Yeah,
unapproachable.
yeah.
I'm like Donald Glover.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, not
Like
Donald Glover. You're like Lenny Henry,
No, shut up.
Frank Bruno cool. John Barnes cool.
I'm not John Barnes.
Yeah, you're John Barnes.
I mean,
cool.
I don't know who any of these people are, but I'm sure they're great.
Great black people, great ones.
Yeah, but so what you were saying like around like white people, because like what? Because you went to private school
Yeah,
for a bit, so I assume there you found some white friends. Don't want to
Yeah,
generalize,
I was
but
there. I made some white buddies.
and then you went to public school,
Yeah.
and
And so I was kind of cool in private school. And I went to public school. I'm like, shit, nah. I'm just kind of weird.
But what is cool though?
I mean, when you're in school, it's very clear. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, obviously now
In
it's
school,
like,
it's so
be
clear.
yourself.
But you said you're around black people, you're not cool. They're not in school now.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just that's true.
Would you say Kenneth is cool?
Kenneth is a friend from.
We have a mutual friend. Sorry,
you have a
sorry.
mutual friend.
Called Kenneth.
You're bringing up your
I
mutual
got his
friend
name, like-
on the podcast.
Without any context.
That's like Kenneth. Who the fuck is
We'll
Kenneth?
put up Kenneth's
Put
Instagram.
his follow, his socials
Put
up.
his Instagram description. We'll have a little poll this week.
Yeah,
on
who
the
knows
Twitter. Do you
Kenneth?
think Kenneth's cool?
Yeah, Kenneth was cool in school. He was part of the cool kids in school.
I think he's a nerd.
Yeah, okay.
I'm joking. What I'm saying is, what is cool in it? Like I understand, like amongst people, you have the cool kids.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
I think
the idea that black people are cool, where does that come from?
because like you gotta understand,
Shaft.
like in just
it's
shaft,
just
like
shaft.
no one else.
Like there's
No.
cool white people.
Yeah,
John Travolta's very cool.
No,
No, he's not.
John Travolta is cool.
He's
He
a
was
cool dude, man.
Scientologist with tons of
Well,
plastic
from
surgery.
the movie career and
Your
everything like that,
pop
John
culture
Travolta's
references are
cool.
all over the place.
John
John
Travolta's
Travolta's
cool.
not cool.
I find him cool.
I mean, but okay,
cool white
this,
dude.
But this is like
Okay, well, I mean, he's cool for a white dude.
yeah, cool for a white dude. How dare you?
So who would you say is cool then?
But this is what I mean. Like the reason, as an Australian, like we see the black people at school is because our only exposure to them is like like rappers, athletes, actors. Like that is genuinely the only exposure.
The best parts of being black look really fun. Like when we're
yeah,
Everybody wants to hype.
100%.
Nobody wants to
moves
pain.
and just- but like obviously like the not so fun parts are not. They don't look as fun. But the fun parts, they look really fun.
This is what I think. I honestly think a group of white people who would not deem themselves as cool are cool in the sense where that's how they are. And that's cool.
That's from an adult
but
perspective.
Okay,
We're,
so
I'm
what we're
speaking
talking about?
juvenile cool.
Juvenile cool.
Where it's
Oh.
like that guy. You see that guy's car?
Yeah.
That's sick. You see
Even
how high?
now. Even
see how,
now. Yeah.
See how that guy just jumped over a guy that just, did like a fucking flex?
That's
Like
all
that's
new.
cool.
Hold
Like,
on.
that's
Is
awesome.
this, have you ever seen that in real life?
No, never. What are you talking about? This is the most black people I've ever hung out with. This is it.
Like, have you ever seen that in real life? Like,
No, but that's what I mean. You gotta understand. We just get it from the media. Like
Yeah.
we only get.
but that's
this
the
kind of
problem, Dan.
polished-
Everything about black people is portrayed through a media. No one actually has seen a black experience. They've only seen a doctored media profile. Nobody knows what it's like. No, I'm just saying, in terms of so you know how to relate to us. Like, I was at a football game watching Newcastle. Because I bought Newcastle United, right?
Okay.
I mean Newcastle.
Why? Why are you laughing at that?
I mean, because it's weird that a black person supports Newcastle.
Why is it weird that a black person supports
He's the
Newcastle?
only one. He's the only
cool.
black person there.
What?
It's not cool.
It's not
I
cool.
mean, I'm supposed to support Arsenal.
Or Man United.
Man United.
There's no black people supporting Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm letting
Why?
the family down.
Why is this? This
I
is
don't
so
know.
weird. But
It's
why do you
black
support
laws.
Newcastle?
There
then?
are,
It's a
but
long
there's
story.
not many.
You're the only one there.
There's quite a few of us, but
Nah.
that's not the point of the story.
Yeah,
Who do you support then, Michael?
I support Chelsea.
You support Chelsea, but I thought they were
Why?
like.
Why do you support Chelsea? You don't live there. You've never lived in the area.
They're Drogba.
Yeah. See,
Yeah, son.
black people draw black people to teams.
I mean, that
We had a Spriller.
that was one of my favorite things in Australia. My mate is an Indigenous guy, and he's like, I support this team in the AFL, and then I support the team with the most Indigenous people.
Yeah.
Like that's the hierarchy.
But that's how most black people support the England team. You count how many black players are starting and see
We've got
people
like
support
7
them.
now.
Yeah, so a lot of black people support the England
And
team.
so
Seven.
now, like,
Yeah.
before back in the day,
you just count.
Yeah, Peter Crouch.
Before we had like 2.5, like you'd count like Lennon and Dyer, you'd put them as one. That's black.
we got some
Like
proper
you had
blacks
to
on
you had
there.
to jump all the
Do you
lights, the
count the
mixed
mixed
race
race
ones.
ones as a half? Then?
Yeah, mixed race ones is hard. So you put two mixed race players, give you one black
We
player.
got Rashford
And
now,
a John
we got
Terry's a minus one.
Sterling.
Yeah,
Producer Mooch crushing
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a weird thing. I've still got a lot of love for John Terry.
Thank
Well,
you.
you're a Chelsea,
He's a Chelsea
supporter.
fan.
Yeah, but like, I feel like if I would not like him for being racist. If I
Is
was-
he-
He said
definitely
racist
racist?
things.
Yeah, but like I would if I
He's
wasn't
not-
a Chelsea fan,
I don't know
I'd
if
see
he
him as
is
like
racist.
A racist.
Right.
I don't think he's a racist like in terms of. I think he's a part of. He's
What do
been
you say, black cunt?
or black bastard, I can't remember.
Yeah,
but he's
that's
been
alright.
trained to see. It's not alright. He's been
It's
trained.
alright.
He's been trained to see.
How good do you have to be at football to get away with that?
I mean, because it was the same.
About
you
John
know.
Terry good, basically.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not
Here's
getting
the
away
thing:
with
if
it.
Messi
Because he
called,
got away with it.
if Messi called a black player a black bastard or a black cunt, 10 years ago, I'll try and find the funny. I won't
The
lie.
audio was inconclusive.
You'd ask about the context.
yeah.
Like,
All
when they
10
was
years
hanging
ago, I'd be
out.
like,
The
what was the black person
it
doing? But
was
here's the funny
inconclusive.
thing: when I'm watching, when me and my family, my friends and whatever, we're watching football. If it's like a black player on the opposing team,
Right.
and maybe he's doing a madness, maybe scoring a good goal, or
Yeah.
even tackling one of the players that are my team, we start doing monkey chants at the guy.
That's
What?
outrageous.
No, you,
But we can
come
do that
on.
because it's from a banter place.
I mean, but it's the same. Like it's kind of like sledging in cricket. They say some horrific.
Thank you for
things.
giving me a wide example.
Like they say some horrific things, you know. And it's kind of like if he said that off the pitch, that's a completely different thing. Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong.
yeah.
yeah.
Like
know
I
what I
say
mean?
some vile things when black players are on the pitch. I just do it for because it's funny in terms of an
Well, it's
in-house
war.
joke.
It's war.
But I
It's
wouldn't
like
say
if you're
I wouldn't say in public
Right. But
I
are
wouldn't
you
say that
publicly watching the game?
with my family.
With your family?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's when you're
it's in-
You
safe.
get ejected for that, you know.
From the house. But yeah, I wouldn't. John Terry was. I feel like he's just conditioned like
Well,
this, like society.
I think people didn't like him before that anyway,
Yeah.
and
It's from
like
Essex,
and
no?
yeah, it's kind of it's
And,
one
but
of
that's
those.
the thing, though.
I love that you're making excuses for it.
It's
You
like.
never had a chance, old John.
But back to the story about the Newcastle
No,
experience.
no, I was just gonna, before we get into that, who do you guys support in the World Cup? England or Nigeria?
That's what Nigeria.
You support Nigeria?
Yeah, all the time.
Probably Nigeria.
Yeah.
So England v Nigeria, you're going Nigeria.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing: Brazil versus England. I'm going Brazil.
Why do people like
The
Brazil?
team with the most. No, it's the team with the most black players.
Right.
Like France versus England, we would have been supporting France because they had like 7, 8
It
black
would have
players.
been hard. It would have been
We
hard.
would want France to win badly.
would have been, but you're English.
I'm not English.
But you,
I am because
Just
I
because
don't.
that's the thing.
like, as
Because
much
you're
as I
born in the
try and, like,
system.
to-
The more-
yeah,
the thing is this: I was born in this country.
Yes.
and I was riding that wave. I'm British. I'm English. I have this heritage. Until I went into society, and people started asking me stuff like, "Where you from?" Till people
Right.
start saying, "Why don't you go back to Africa?"
But
Till the government started showing policies and things that show you and continually remind you you're a guest in this country. That's when I started to realize I'm not English.
But that's
when
the
this
weird
country
thing,
thinks
though.
of England, they don't think of black skin. They think of white skin, and that's fine. I'm not against that. I just have to understand my position. Otherwise, it's detrimental to my growth.
But I don't
That's
feel
how I
like
feel.
I don't feel like that Nigerian either because I
don't feel Nigerian at all. That's why I say I'm first
speak
generation.
the language.
Yeah, I speak the language, but yeah,
I feel like if they put me there, I'll be like.
But you're lying to yourself because
have you spent time in Nigeria?
I spent maybe 3 months there,
But
here and there.
you said if they put you there, you'd think whatever. But
No, I'd be like, I'd be lost.
if I put you in America, you'd be lost. But you'd have to find yourself, right?
Right, yeah, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't feel like I'm home now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I
if I don't
wouldn't.
feel home here and I don't feel home there.
Do you know what the funny thing is? If you go to Nigeria, you will definitely feel at home. You might feel out of place, but you'll definitely feel at home.
You think so?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one thing you feel when you go back to your country. You feel at home.
Relaxed.
You feel comfortable. You don't deal with the things that you see. You deal with other stresses. Do you see what I'm saying?
You're a person there first.
And plus, they treat you better than they treat themselves. The same way they treat white people better than they'll treat you because they see a
you're a
person from
guest.
England. No, because you're from England.
And you're
Because
English.
you're from England.
Yeah, you have an accent.
So is that still like a thing? Because Nigeria was a colony.
Yeah. So if you come from England, they put you on a higher status.
Do they treat white people better then?
10
Still?
times. If me and you went to Nigeria, right? This happened to my uncle. He went to Nigeria with his colleague.
Yeah.
And they got to the place where they were staying, and the gate man, Nigerian guy, comes out, gets the bags and gives them to my uncle and said, "Carry your boss's bags inside." And my uncle was like, "I'm his," and his colleague was like, "No, he's my boss." And the Nigerian guy's face was puzzled, like, "You're in charge of a white man?"
Still.
So yeah, still.
2019.
Yeah.
Oh, mad.
Yeah. So it's that mentality is still there. So when I go to Nigeria, all I have to do is speak, and I have a list of people waiting on me.
Right.
Because I'm from England.
Because of the accent.
Because of the accent.
They hear the English accent.
Yeah.
They're like,
but then
oh,
I
this
don't
guy's-
feel. But they always remind me I'm British.
But I would still like miss England because
Of course you'd miss England because
efficiency.
there's no other place. There's no other place in the world that I go to that I don't miss London and Hackney. Like I don't care where it is. I'm always like I want to go back home to London now because I'm used to London. It's my home.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm
that's what I
saying.
would have thought. I would have thought. Just sorry, it was interesting what you said about Michael. Like if you went to America, like you'd feel just as out of place.
Yeah.
But like I would have thought like culturally, like London and New York would be much closer than London and like
But
Lagos.
they don't give a shit about
Lagos.
like for example Americans, they don't give a shit about black stabbings or black. But I feel like we care about their shit.
Well, they got
More
guns,
and more,
man. They got
way
they
more
got the whole
than.
thing.
And that's the thing. It's like if I wouldn't want to live in America because in a sense where I'm not American. So you know how people say we should go to America. But it's like no, I love being black and British.
Well,
in
is
a
that
sense
a
where-
common thing in like black
Yeah.
people in Britain
Yeah.
being like, you should go to America,
Yeah,
they'll
because there's
appreciate
Yeah,
you.
because there's no
Do you know,
opportunity.
you know how you were talking about like how musically we identify a lot more with their stuff early on. I feel like it's the same with the struggle as well. We kind of mixed up the black British struggle with the black American struggle, and it's like it's not the same.
It's the same
And
struggle.
they don't-
It's just
they
a
don't care.
different approach. It's not about them caring though. It's the way that we always have been tailored to channel our voices and our art. It's to represent some kind of struggle or oppression. Where what we should be doing is just telling the stories of how we see ourselves in the world we live in, through our families, through our day-to-days.
And
You see
that's
what
your
I'm saying?
responsibility as a black artist.
And that's what, but as Funmbi as an artist, not a black artist. I'm not a black artist.
intrinsically
I'm a
linked.
black man.
But can't you just talk about whatever? Like, why do you have to talk about being like? I'm not saying that.
Exactly. I agree
I'm not
with you.
saying that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that like, you don't have to.
No.
I feel like
And I feel like that's what everyone feels like they have
Like,
to do.
I don't go out the stage being like, I got to tell it like it
But here's
is
the
for an
thing, Dan.
Australian. Like,
When I
no.
talk about my material on stage, talks about my experience as a black British person.
That's just your experience.
Right. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about racism. I'm not fighting it. I'm not talking about how the institutions. I'm just talking about my experience in the world I see.
But yeah, that's right. And that's a political act in itself.
That's fine, but it's not a black one. It's not me trying to
But
get
it
office.
is.
No, that's what you're gonna coin it. It's like people say to me, "I'm pro-black." I'm not pro-black because that would suggest I'm anti-something. You see what I'm saying?
I don't think those are necessarily two sides.
No, but
You can be pro-black without being anti-white.
But my thing is, why does it have to be pro-black? Why can't I just be happy I'm alive?
Dude, I'm
just saying. Why does everything have to be coined to this kind of
'Cause
movement
that's
and
what we
cause?
are. That's what we are. That's the world today, man.
I don't believe in
But
it.
like-
None of these people who do these things, the Twitters, and they're not activists. They've never been in a position where the system's been against them. I read Angela Davis's book. She was in prison fighting the system.
Yeah, but things are different now. 2019
They're not
is-
different. They're not
2019
different.
is
They're not different.
The-
No, they're
the-
not.
the
They're not
fight,
different.
She had that fight, so the fight now is a bit
It's-
different.
so the fight now is tweets.
Yeah, I mean, but I know
And
that
that's
sounds
progress.
insane.
That's progress.
That
No,
is
it's not.
progress.
Then-
I'm with Michael on this 100%.
No
But hold
progress.
on, Dan. Is it progress? There's
Yeah.
people gluing themselves to planes.
Yeah, but they're
Like-
lunatics. Fuck them.
Oh, so they're lunatics.
No. I'm just saying, like that is progress. Like just because someone
So
had
then
to...
why do we still have
So I should be
racism?
getting the water cannon.
No. I'm not saying you should be getting the water cannon, but what the system has cleverly done is adjusted to our needs, so we don't feel the need to go into the streets. But we're still being bound by the same things that were happening.
Well, no, because
here.
it's improved. So like the type of
How
protest
has
can
it
change
improved?
as well.
White
You saw
people are getting nicer. Like,
and that's the
They are
problem. That's the
getting
problem.
nicer.
You keep looking at racism from a white people need to be nice to us standpoint. That's the problem.
I think, like-
and that's not what it's
Is it
about.
not? Are we doing it wrong? I can tell
No,
everyone.
They're
That's-
getting more civil. They're getting nicer.
I'll send a memo.
White people have always been nice. White people have always been nice. What I mean is this: when I grew up, there were nice white people. Some of my teachers were nice. Some of
But
my
they were
friends
allowed
nice.
to be
Hold on
mean.
a second. Hold on. White people are allowed to be mean. Racism is not white people being bad. Racism is a system. You see what I'm saying? It's a power structure. Do you know what I mean? There's money involved. Like, this is a system that protects wealth, and you're not gonna beat it or bring it down by tweeting.
But it's a start.
But that's
it's part
knowledge.
of it.
That's knowledge.
I'm not. Here's the thing. I will never fight white supremacy. Never.
Why?
I'm good because they kill people that do.
Don't,
Yes,
not
they
now.
do.
It's in 2019.
No one's tried. Who's tried it like latest? Who's the recent trial? Let me break it down for you. Martin Luther King, dead. Malcolm X, dead.
That's the-
Wait.
they were really mean back then. They were so
Can you
mean.
see that? He's saying they were really mean. That's why you have to read your history. You
No,
have to
the
go and
white
read your
people
history.
were really mean back then.
So why
they
did
were
they
killing
kill
the
Martin
blacks.
Luther King? Okay, all right, cool.
He was killed by blacks.
Can I finish?
Malcolm X?
Can I finish?
No, Malcolm X. He started
You
being
need to-
nicer to
you
white
need
people.
to
Well,
read
no,
more.
he went against the Nation of Islam, and they did not like that. They
Yeah,
did
that
not-
was more complication. But
Yeah.
my point is, Malcolm X dead, Martin Luther King dead,
Sure.
Steve Biko dead, Nelson Mandela dead,
Who's Steve Biko?
Nelson Mandela. You're putting him down.
Nelson Mandela dead.
Oh,
Let's look at
old age,
no.
bro.
Can I? Let's put it into context.
I just want to say white people are not responsible for old age. Just like,
What I'm saying-
I don't think that's our
On the
fault.
white.
You can't put that on us. You can't put that on us. My point is
Mother
this.
Teresa. Also,
My point is this: you look at Mandela when he started out. Okay, he was against apartheid, right?
Sure.
They put him in prison for 27 years for that,
Yeah.
for being
I mean, there
against.
was
some
also
terrorism.
there was
There was
also
No. He
Some arms
so
hoarding.
what? So what? When white people wanted to take over land, they did terrorism. None of them went to jail for that.
They
Yeah,
put the
but-
Irish in
And
jail.
It's true,
to
we
hold on,
did.
to break down a system that's oppressing you, that's
Yeah.
killing your children and your kids, you might go to the extreme to get a high
Of course,
that
but
attention.
if you don't overthrow it, then that system's going to put you in prison.
Of
Like,
course,
just
and
how
that's
it
what I
works.
mean. I wouldn't fight white supremacy
Okay,
because
that's
they put
fine.
you in prison
But
for
But
trying.
would you tweet about it?
No. Yes,
Well-
I would tweet about it, and I'll be very clever. I called someone a coon on Twitter. They put me in the sin bin.
What do you mean they put you in the sin bin?
They blocked my account for 2 weeks. For a
Really?
week for calling someone a coon.
You know, there's a type of cheese in Australia called coon.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
Stephen
white?
Famos. I did a gig with him last night, and he had this whole bit about it.
So my
It was
point
very
is, I
famous.
wouldn't fight the system because you can't beat it, and I don't want to die. I want to enjoy the life.
Surely it's just like
You're dying for. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, we're all gonna die anyway, so don't worry about it. And just enjoy the ride, man. White people have won. Don't you see it?
But your ride is more enjoyable.
We have
because of the
chess.
we
fight.
have not won.
You've won. You've definitely won.
I love
Okay,
it. I love
you're
it.
winning.
I love that you guys just
You're
completely
not,
forget
you're
about
not white though. You're not
China.
white. No.
You're China. You know what?
China's winning.
China's-
Like, I'm sorry.
And that's your fault.
That's not our
I'm
fault.
upset with white people that you let China get ahead. I'm upset.
They've been quietly working.
They
away
have.
while
They have.
we
I'm
did
impressed
it.
with their moves.
And they're just like, hey, look, you guys can keep thinking you're in charge. We'll just keep lending you
yeah,
money.
Did we? I mean, did you guys? Did whites colonial China?
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, we did.
they
We
did
did like
that's where they
the
got tea from.
opium wars and all that
But how
stuff.
come you left them alone? Because like when they left the blacks alone, they kept coming back, putting in like puppet leaders and shit, and then we couldn't like build. But they left China
nuclear
alone.
power.
I think we interfered with you guys more, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, definitely.
I think because we could do more work. Like on the plantations and stuff like that. We were workers.
I mean, I think
In
there's...
the 50s.
I think there's a lot
I
of
don't- when did-
American
when did they-
railroads which would disagree with the point.
You know what? But I just mean in terms of endurance, and I feel like the Chinese were a bit more. I think they'll start fighting eventually.
I
Really
reckon.
underestimated them.
I reckon. Surely it must do with just geographical convenience. Because we get
It's-
black.
Asia's really far.
Yeah, exactly. We
Yeah,
can just
yeah,
get
yeah.
black people from the Caribbean to
Yeah,
America
yeah,
in
it's
short
short,
notice.
yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
it was
that's a good
also
point.
like
Yeah.
in terms of like actual like oil and shit like that, they probably saw Africa as like.
Well, they didn't
more
discover
goods within
Africa.
there.
But
They
there's
didn't
more resources.
Yeah.
Like Nigeria as well. Like
Yeah, and they weren't
12th
fucking with the oil.
most oil in the world or something?
Yeah,
They
that's
really
that's
underestimated
overhyped.
China.
That's
man.
overhyped?
Yeah, when's the last time you saw a fucking oil tanker from Nigeria?
When's the last time I saw an oil tanker?
Chinese,
No, I mean, like
Chinese
oil
have taken
you
over
get in the
Africa.
shop made in Nigeria or something. The Chinese have taken over Africa. Yeah,
China's taking over Africa.
Yeah, they're
in
expanding big time in
like,
Nigeria.
Mad.
they're expanding big time.
What? Why? Like, is it like expanding their
Dan's
influence?
Dan's trying to find out if as much information can pass on to the people
Do you know-
afterwards.
do you know-
Oh yeah, what are they doing in Nigeria, Funmbi? I'm gonna pass this on to the agency later.
You know how everyone's praising Akon because he's doing like solar energy?
Yeah,
That's all the
Everyone's-
Chinese.
yeah, I
That's
knew
all
that.
China.
Right on the mic.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
you have to do your research.
Wait, sorry, everyone's praising Aquan.
Akon, you know,
You know
right?
who Akon is, right?
Akon.
Unlocked
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
'cause
Convict.
He's doing solar energy. And
Is he still around?
Yeah.
I thought Akon was dead.
Nah, he's got like he's
I haven't heard of Akon in years, man.
He went to Africa to make things better, because that's what you do when your money's not long enough in America. You go to Africa.
So I was listening to the Jay-Z album the other day, 444.
Yeah.
He was talking about like black freedom is financial freedom. Is that what you think freedom is for us? It's we just get our money.
I think it's all good words.
I think the financial thing is very important because like just one of the things that I think black people did in America is they started owning stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Def Jam, like the records, like
Yeah.
the production
You didn't own
thing,
Def
and
Jam.
NBA teams like Michael Jordan getting like a stake in like Nike and stuff. Whereas in Australia, black people own nothing.
Right, yeah.
And that's
In
why
America,
there's
black
just
people own
huge
nothing.
gap.
Well, Rupert Murdoch owns most. He's one white.
in America, black people don't own
Is what?
much in America.
But they
Not major.
own a lot more than like here. What does like a big like black superstar own in the UK? Like what's like a big?
Do you ever speak out against Rupert Murdoch? Or are you a little bit scared?
I mean, what am I gonna
I
say?
don't, but like, is there feels like he does own a lot though? You know.
I mean, I think
Dude, he
that-
owns he owns Fox in America. He owns like the
Yeah,
Sun
he
here.
owns
He owns
everything.
like every print media in
he owns
Australia.
life. No, I'm joking.
I mean, like anything I say against Rupert Murdoch, he can
Do you think it
bury.
could be used
like,
against us?
pardon?
Do you think it can be used against us if we're Andy Murdoch?
What?
No.
I think.
I don't think he cares. Like,
Why would you be anti-Murdoch? What's the energy in that?
I don't know.
There's no energy.
I
in
think
that.
there's loads of people who are anti-Murdoch, but it's
Yeah,
kind
but
of
who?
like,
Why would you?
who
even-
cares?
Who
They don't really
cares?
care
He's
'cause he
getting
just-
money.
yeah.
You're gonna. He will tell you. I know you hate my shit, but hey, I'm gonna sponsor your new tour. You'll be like, yeah.
I'm
course.
interested in how.
But in terms of what black people own, I feel like
How
in this
power
country,
works.
yeah.
What do you mean?
who's-
Like
who's-
you think finance? Like what? It's not as simple as money equals power. You think there's
it's relationships. I think power's in relationships. Circles and
So, like,
friendships.
is Nigeria very powerful in Africa? I would assume so, as like the biggest population.
It's got the biggest numbers, but I think the most powerful place would probably be South Africa.
Really, in terms of like influence on the continent.
Well, it's white people running it.
I mean, not anymore.
Yeah, it is.
White people running South Africa.
Of course it is. Who else runs
I
it?
thought all their
the
politicians are black, aren't
So doesn't mean they're running it.
they? I mean, that's probably a fair point.
Doesn't mean they're running it. The wealth is still controlled by the white people.
Yeah, that's true. Like the
Yeah.
white people
It's
said
the,
the
who
majority
controls
of
the
wealth.
money? It's like you think Obama was running America when he was president. He's just the poster child, right?
I mean, but that's still the same. Like
Yeah,
even
it's
with
the
Trump.
same. Yeah, it's the
so-
same thing. Yeah. So what I mean is, in that sense, yeah, the people who run the country with the
Yeah,
wealth is
like
where
the
the power
business
is.
interests are what run it.
Right. So the Nigeria, like, it's a powerful country in terms of numbers, but
Dangote.
in terms of spreading that
Got a lot of
power,
oil.
it's
He's
not.
like an oil man.
He's not an oil man. He's a
Cement man.
Yeah, cement.
Cement man.
That's where the money is, you know. It's
Cement.
Like, it's like toilet paper and cement,
Amenities.
or like bricks.
But can you see why we would never have the society we're talking about? Because all we're concerned with is where the money's at.
Well, I mean, but as long as
Isn't that
if
the
you
whole policy?
redistribute the wealth like significantly, then everything changes.
So why does that not happen?
Let's own cement.
Because the people who have the money really like the money.
If you go into that circle, you're gonna redistribute wealth.
What if I was in like the really, really rich person circle? Absolutely not.
I love you, Dan. Shake my hand, man.
Yeah,
Shake my
I'm
hand.
honest.
Bill
No.
Gates is redistributing his
He's
wealth.
doing a good job. Bill Gates is doing a good job, yeah. But I mean, when you got like 36 billion, I guess you're like, yeah, fuck it. Here's like, how much money?
Oh, can you redistribute till you start getting affected?
Yeah, like what? Like
Till you start worrying about bank
if
statements.
you have $1 billion,
yeah.
like surely anything.
That's not enough to redistribute.
That's not enough to redistribute. You got to have $1 billion and continue to grow on it.
Yeah,
You could
and then
just have,
keep
yeah.
I
redistributing.
feel like
Yeah.
if I had 88 billion, I'd start giving back.
No, think about it. And that's why racism, sexism, it will never end. You have to wait till you get to 88 billion before you start thinking about someone else.
I mean,
88 fucking billion.
I'll talk about like. I'm talking about like.
Do you know what 88 billion is? It's money you can't even
I'm
spend.
talking about like a really mad generous rate. Like here's $1 billion.
Oh my God! No, Dan, this guy
build a
for
center.
president. I need 88 billion before I can give away a billion. Because I still need 87
who do
billion.
you give the billion to? Like, isn't the whole thing like when money is given out,
It
like,
doesn't last.
It stays at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we'll totally give it to everybody else.
It's like black
It's
people were talking about reparations. That we should get reparations.
I thought,
It's like
is anyone still talking about reparations? Your fucking references, dude. You're doing
I'm
like
serious. It's recent. Well, it's in the black circles. Like it's
Jay-Z is like, we need to gentrify our own hoods.
yeah. When he says we, who,
Black people.
how, what do you need to gentrify?
he means
a hood?
money.
rich black
You
people
bring-
with money.
Right,
You bring money
right.
into your
and
own
who
neighborhood.
has money? If that was Jay-Z's MO for real, then why did he sign a deal with the NFL to do the sponsor packages for the entertainment
So he
package?
can make more money
For who?
for him.
Right. So how is that now gentrifying our
And then
neighborhoods?
he's gonna give the money to the people.
Surely
to Beyonce.
Jay-Z is giving some
That's-
stuff out. Like, surely. I mean, I don't know the
It's not
stats on
about-
it.
He's probably
not
giving out
about-
some turkeys.
It's
and-
not. It's not about.
Some
It's like you
turkeys.
said. Like you said. It's what rich people do. They give you the little.
So then,
bits to
financial
keep
freedom
you
isn't
happy.
black freedom then, because you're just gonna have black selfish people.
Here's what I'm trying to
But
say.
isn't that freedom? They get
That's
to
what I'm
be
trying
just
to
as
say.
selfish as the white people.
We live in a capitalistic
system-
society, so there's no idea that everyone's going to be happy. Where someone wins, someone has to lose, and someone has to lose badly. If you have a beautiful mansion, you still need a toilet where you can put your shit in. And most black people live in the
That
toilet.
metaphor does not hold up. That metaphor does not hold up.
And black people live in the toilet of the mansion, and that's the shit that you have to deal with.
What?
Where the toilet?
If you look at
Why
we
you
live
in
in
the
we
toilet?
live in the toilet. So if
We
you go
live
up in
in the
England,
toilet?
we do. If you look at London like a nice
Where the
house.
toilet water?
But that means
With a
that-
toilet.
But the people in the mansion still need to visit the toilet.
They do.
I think
they
rich
do.
white people
and
are
white
like,
people, white people love to come to the neighborhoods and have the nice barbecue
What are
sauce and the
Mexicans?
lovely hot wings
oh,
that they
get out of
create.
it. Come on.
What I'm saying is, in a
What is
society,
this, the first 15 minutes of a buddy cop movie? Me just walking in, being like, here, you got nice wings here. Maybe we should solve
you see it
crime.
happen though.
Like,
You see it happen
get
though.
out.
But think about it though. The world, you need poor people.
Of
You
course.
just need them.
That's how capitalism works.
and that's how
But-
capitalism works.
But
so
like
the idea
it's
that
post-structural now, so it doesn't have to be within the same country. It can just be like exploiting like the area. So like as black British people, you guys can, you know,
most
be as high up as you want.
black celebrities probably exploit black people through not necessarily out of spite, but just
Through
for the
the
fact
struggle.
just for the fact that you're the one on who's popular, and so these
Right.
people come to you and offer you things that, as you assume, are good for your people, but in a sense, you're just lining up everyone's pockets. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not. I mean, Dick Gregory said black people will never get liberation from entertainment and sports. That's what he said. Like no entertainer is going to liberate you from the struggles.
You can expand
do.
your consciousness.
You can highlight it on the platforms, but you can't liberate them with that.
No, of course not.
But is that something that's like a big thing at the moment, like with like Black Panther and like all the stuff, like representation on TV, like as black people, like is that good? Like you guys like
The
great,
movie's good, but what does it? You
It's
can't.
alright.
Come on, man.
but like does it mean anything to you? Like I don't.
No, because
not to
Marvel
me.
made all the
No.
profit. You know, it
Right.
doesn't go to a black family who now get to cast black people and continue to
I felt like
get that money to
I
come
felt
back.
Black Panther meant a lot more to black Americans who don't always like have a strong connection with their African roots.
And
So do you think black British people have a stronger connection?
We have a stronger connection. It wasn't that big of a deal to us.
no, because we've been to Africa. We've seen the country.
So to them it was like, wow, this,
Well, yeah.
this
To
fictional
us, it
world
was
of what
just-
Africa
yeah.
could be. It's
And
like, well, no,
again,
we-
it was a fictional version of Africa, not even
Right.
the real version.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I've lived in the real version.
Yeah.
And I just know that I don't need a superhero to tell me, or a black person on television to tell me I'm great. Even
have
though the
JJ
world is so
Okocha.
that.
Yeah.
Even the world, I have my dad. Well, a lot of people might not have that, but I tend to look around. You know, there's great black people around me, my uncles, my aunties. They're not famous or whatever, but they did things and they struggled and they survived and they're better off for it now. And that's what I tend to look to. I don't really look to the media in the world for a source of, I guess, what can be done or what can't be done. I didn't see Barack Obama as a black person can become president. At the time I did, but as I look back, that's not what that was about.
But in terms of like inspiration and ambition, can that exist in a vacuum? In terms of like, did you not see certain black comedians see what they were talking about and that sparked something within you?
Absolutely, because I wanted to be a comedian.
Even before like you
If I wanted to be a comedian, I'll go and look. If you want to be a tennis player, who's the tennis player you're going to study?
Who's tennis player to study?
Yeah, if you want to become
Roger
a tennis player.
Federer, one-handed
right. You think I'm
backhand.
going to study
Love
Songa because he's black?
Pardon?
You think I'm going to study Songa or Monfils because they're black tennis players? I mean, I might check them out for the Instagram post, but if I want to be great, I'm going to study the greatest tennis player.
Yeah,
And that's how I see
but
things.
surely, like, if comedy was just, Carlin, Louis C.K., Jerry Seinfeld, whatever, like there was just no black people doing it.
Then it'd be racist.
Surely that would be weird.
But that's why
That's going to be racist.
That's
It
why
should be a racist world.
black dolls are important and black
Of course.
children's books where like the
Of
girls
course.
are astronauts.
Of course.
Because it's planting seeds in your head.
Yes, but comedy is different in the sense where a white comic is not put, well, maybe some, but they're not necessarily put on television to tell you what the world is like. This is,
Well, they're not there to tell you what being white is like.
No.
Whereas, like, I think with like you
Books.
guys, there's like kind of like an unspoken kind of like, so you'll tell us how it's been for you, right?
But I feel like with a book and a doll, especially for a child, when you're reading about books,
Yeah.
you're imagining these things and you're putting yourself in that world.
Yeah.
And a lot of Nigerians grew up on British books.
Sure.
So we assume that Britain is the land of milk and honey.
Mm-hmm.
Just what I'm saying. That's
So
why.
even in Nigeria, people are reading this British literature.
Oh yeah, I read Oliver Twist. I read Charles Dickens novels.
Right.
All of that. So all of that is put in Nigeria.
Yeah.
However, you don't read books about Africans in this country unless it's come from a savage context. It's not in the school curriculum.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Or
actually,
in Australia.
weirdly, for like leaving school, I read like Wole Soyinka.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a play about a dictator. I don't
Is
know.
it eating right things fall apart? But I know what one you're talking about.
Yeah. He's like a very famous.
Yeah,
Nigerian.
he's won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, well, no, it's fun. It's interesting about the books and stuff because, like, as an Australian, like, we read the British books and like it doesn't look like
The same.
Yeah, because like Australia's like a very different. Have either of you guys been to Australia?
I've been to Australia.
Yeah, like it's just the landscape is different.
It looks like America.
Yeah, when you come here and you like see the things, you're like, oh, that's what Jane Austen was talking about.
Yeah.
You know, like the green and the fields and the shit. And you're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, yeah, I mean, I don't feel like particularly at home here. Like it's weird because everyone just assumes
That you're English.
that I
or
like,
at least from somewhere.
yeah, but you guys know so much more about England than I do. But
Yeah.
like they look at you kind of like, oh yeah. Like whereas like me, they're like, you must know, and I'm like, I don't know who that kind of is.
Well, people still say
Right,
I was outside a bank one time and this white dude comes up to me and I'm holding food in my hand and he's like, oh, I had 2 portions because my friend was in the bank.
Yeah.
I was holding hers. And he was like, oh.
Wait, your friend was in a bank at bank?
This was London Bridge. And he just said, he sparked up conversation,
Yeah.
which was weird because in England, nobody talks to no one in it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, thank you for starting the convo.
Yeah.
And we just got to a little banter and whatever, just talking. And he said, so are you visiting?
Yeah.
I said, no. At first I thought, visit from where? Have you not heard me speak for the last 20 seconds?
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I live here. He said, oh, so when did you come over? I said, okay.
Right.
And then I said, I was born here.
Are those loaded questions or those innocent questions?
Those are stupid questions.
Are they?
Am I-
Yeah.
But
They're
is it just
stupid
like
questions.
making conversation?
No.
No?
No.
Do you think there's a
Are you
big
sure?
difference
No,
to that?
there's no way I would talk to an English person for 2 seconds and be like,
Why
so,
not just do that
are
for
you
fun?
visiting? But from where?
Just do it for fun next
From
time.
Birmingham.
I would know what a Birmingham accent is.
Yeah, that's because just be ignorant.
No, and that's my point. It's like he had already assumed because I'm black in this country, I must have come over.
You haven't got eyebrows.
Nah. Yeah, but everyone knows that. Everyone knows that though. But yeah,
Nice. Awesome.
Wait, sorry, one thing I just wanted to ask Michael about. You were at Edinburgh this year.
Yeah.
Edinburgh Fringe, it's been, if you listen to the podcast, you've heard this discussed a lot. It's the big thing that UK comedy kind of still revolves around. I think it's probably moving away.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of chat in that festival about, like, it's a very white festival, which it is. Like, even I'm kind of like, whoa, okay. This reminds me of back home.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, so... You did quite well there. You were nominated for, like, best show and stuff. Like, was it something you experienced that it was like a very white thing? Did you know that kind of going in? Like, did it bother you?
I didn't feel like the audience. I know a big deal was made out of it, but it didn't feel that. I mean, I probably had about 15 black people throughout the whole show.
Right. Out of like what, like 1,000 people, let's just say?
That came to my show.
Yeah. Something like that over the whole run?
Maybe, yeah. Actually,
you saw that like that, yeah? Scheme.
But I don't know. I mean, because I came up on the mainstream circuit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously there's the urban circuit and the mainstream. I came up on
There's
the
urban shows in the
there's
mainstream.
urban shows and mainstream circuit, and so I grew up mainly performing to mainly white people.
Yeah.
So this didn't feel like when I was doing the Edinburgh.
You felt at home.
I didn't feel like I was adjusting anything because I've always like topics in my show. I've always tried to talk about the black perspective, and I've always known how I've had to frame it and performing to certain audiences and how I'm. So it didn't feel like a major change to me.
Right.
To
That's just what I just don't understand that.
What do you mean?
Like, why as a black person I have to tailor things, or the black perspective? Someone said that to me the other day. If it's a black perspective,
For me, it's
what is a black perspective?
It's a craft thing. It's just crafting a joke.
What is a black perspective? It's just my
But
perspective.
that's craft in terms of writing a joke to get. You know, you've got your point that you're trying to make, your intent. But how do I frame it to get the best possible reaction, which is the biggest possible laugh? And then that's just like
For white people, would you do the same? Would you do
for-
the same tailoring for black people?
Well, I have different shows when I'm performing. So
Why? They're just an audience.
I know, but
once someone said to me, my brother said to me, until you see the audience as one, you're never going to progress. If you see them as black people and white people, yes, there's certain
But what
things I
about
could
like
say.
old people and young people? Like if I'm doing jokes in Australia, like I'll explain things differently than if I'm doing jokes here. Like there's just a shorthand based on who you're speaking to.
But that's because you're Australian and English. She's saying black and white.
Yeah, but like, I mean, obviously, probably
Like you don't explain a white person's perspective of Australia to white people here.
Yes,
you
I
just
do.
talk about
Yes,
being
I do.
Australian. You talk
I
about
have
being
to give
Australian
Australia
though.
context.
Yeah, because and first of all, English people have already knowledge of Australian culture.
Yeah, but not in like the main thing I think is like the explanation of a joke or like in the setup more than the actual punchline. But sometimes even with punchlines that you want to go like a layer up if it's an English audience because they don't have a thorough understanding of
Yeah,
Australia.
but that's a
Wait,
reference.
so-
Like you might say, if I'm talking about Hackney, if the punchline is Hackney, if I'm in another country, I might use their country or something like that to use that reference.
No, I'm not saying references. I'm saying in terms of like, for example, I got like a thing about Australia's border being like a nightclub door, and that joke works a lot better in Australia because every Australian knows inherently that everyone in Australia lives on the coast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a bouncer. Whereas like here, people are like, oh, they don't get it as like intrinsically. Like,
But that's not a black experience. He's saying that when you say a black experience, what do you mean? Because I can understand that.
Yeah.
But you're not explaining that from being a black person or a white person. You're explaining that from being from Australia.
Exactly.
I live in England and I still have to explain blackness to people who live in England.
but like, isn't that just explaining like your experience?
Yeah.
Like,
It
I
is
don't see it
explaining
as
my
like a major
experience.
thing that I'm
But
doing.
when Russell Howard or Jack Whitehall or Michael McIntyre, they talk their words and they don't tell it for anybody. And it's seen as a general experience.
But because I think that's like Jack Whitehall, for example, just because I worked with him recently. Like that's just like it's not a particularly unique. Like it's like he's just describing
His world.
About,
His
like,
experience.
milk and stuff.
But that's his
he's talking
experience.
about milk. That's the
yeah,
thing.
but
It's
that's
not-
his experience. The way he talks about milk is not the way
Well,
I
I'm
would
not going to
see
give
milk.
like a black experience of milk.
But what I'm saying is when you talk about
You know,
it,
we drink milk like this. You know what I mean? But I'm white.
so then what do you mean by you tailor it? What do you mean?
I
by
never said the word Taylor.
You said you did. You
I
said
didn't.
you tailor it to
Run the
so
tape. Run the tape.
You said you tailor it so that the audience. So that you said you have different sets. So that
I
means
might
you go.
not talk about if I'm performing to black people. I might not talk about racism as much.
Okay.
I don't make those points
Okay.
as much.
well, because they don't find it
feel
as
like-
Because they
interesting.
don't need it.
I feel like they don't need it.
So then why do you have to do it in front of white people? I don't
Because
understand.
we love it.
I don't
Look,
know.
I'm just being honest. Like I think that's a.
You love it.
I think white people.
I like talking about it. When
Why?
I talk,
Why?
I just think it's an interest. I like have interesting points of view on certain things. But I just feel like when I'm talking to black people, I don't need to
Like,
get it. You know what I mean?
I think that's a fair point.
I don't think that's a fair point.
Like I think like white people in the audience, like a lot of the time they're like interested because like it's outside of their perspective, and it's like
Yeah, but you can't-
I grew up watching Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy. Like it's kind of like all I watched. Like every comedian I ever watched was like a black guy, and I loved it.
But is that
even
because
though
of
I
your
didn't-
fascination to the world that you weren't privy to?
Absolutely.
Right?
Which is the same way Michael's
I feel
explaining
like
it to
I'm
them.
preaching to
Right.
the choir for a little bit.
But one, you're not preaching. Your job is not to preach. Your job is to tell jokes. And two, and two, I understand what you mean. But when I got into the main rooms, I found myself pandering to white people so they could like me, and trying to dumb down my experience and give them a more comfortable ride around a black person who they're not really
But if
around.
anything, what I'm doing,
But that
yeah.
might have been a struggle of my kind of
Yeah.
thing. But everyone, I guess, comes out with that. When you're from, I guess, Australia, you're a woman, you always highlight the fact that you're a woman. Or when you're gay, you kind of highlight the fact that, yes, I'm a, you come with your
Well,
minority.
some people do that, then they like
Achilles.
ease off on it and like double down on it. But I've seen Michael shine. Like I wasn't sitting there being like, "Well, thank God he's give me little footnotes here."
Yeah.
To
No.
explain
What I
the
mean
black
is,
experience.
what I mean is, sometimes you tend to go down that that feeling.
But
I just feel like if you come out into an audience, whether they're black or white, it doesn't really matter because all that matters is what's funny. That's what I'm trying to understand.
But even if I'm performing in London versus outside of London, I'll give way more weight to the fact I'm Australian and kind of like explain that I'm not the Australian they expected.
Yeah.
Like that I'm not like riding a surfboard with blonde hair, like playing cricket, you know? Like,
but isn't the skill good to the point where you don't have to do that?
Absolutely, but I'm not there. Like,
but that's what I mean. I
can't give Blackpool the context that Australians are hipsters, like the people who live in London. Like, they don't get that. They're just like, no. You guys drink beer, play cricket, punch crocodile.
Yeah.
Like they can't understand that. Like, no. I'm basically a person from London. I just sound like an Australian. But they're like, why is your accent subtle? And I'm like, because I'm educated, cunt. That's all it is. Like,
yeah, but I know a lot of black comics who feel they can't tell certain jokes in the main rooms in front of white people because they won't get it.
Well, I mean,
I don't know, just a lot. That was a general feeling.
The only jokes that I have not understood with black people over here is when it's like an urban room and they're talking about like Somalia. Yeah. Like, Somalians, and I'm like, no.
You can't do that in the main rooms.
But why would you though? If there's no Somalians in the room.
But it works in the black room.
Because it's an ignorant premise, and that's why it works.
Okay, well, it's
an ignorant premise, when that's why it works. It's like when you talk about Jamaicans and Nigerians amongst a black room, it hits more home. But what I've noticed is if there's white people in that audience, they begin to appreciate and understand that because they're in that room.
Because they have to.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go, because when I went to Edinburgh and I was talking about Nigeria, I wasn't a good storyteller at the time. I don't think my ability to transcend that message was good enough. But they didn't get it. Do you see what I'm saying? But I didn't put it on the fact that because I'm talking about Nigeria. I just put it on the fact that I didn't tell the story good enough.
Yeah, you didn't break it down enough.
But I mean, like, one thing, Babatunde, I saw him do a show and he did a joke about how he's Nigerian and his wife's Jamaican. Yeah. And it's like, which white people call a mixed marriage. And everyone... And like, that's funny. Yeah, and like, black people call it mixed marriage, white people like, no, you guys are the same. And I'm like, I got it. Even though, and like the room was pretty white and I was like, everyone got that. But like, you know what I mean? That's not pandering, I don't think. It's just acknowledging that for white people, like...
That's not pandering.
That's not pandering.
But when you come out and say, jokes about, about the size of your dick or you're not going to rob the audience tonight, you'd be surprised. And you're not going to rob the audience tonight.
That's bad comedy if the audience is white or black. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Like, it's just bad.
No, when I mean in front of a main white audience. Because what I'm saying is I don't understand how you can have two separate sets for two rooms.
Two separate sets. It's just... Okay,
certain jokes you wouldn't
everyone goes through their jokes like, okay,
tonight
maybe this not this one here, maybe not this one here, okay, this. You know what I mean? Different facets of your personality I'm going to show to these people.
So then if you grew up in the mainstream, you come up on the mainstream all the time, then how's your whole hour just a whole perfect routine?
How do you mean?
Like, because then you won't have any. If you probably struggle more on an urban show.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, you struggle.
I feel like I do.
Why?
I feel like it's a in my head thing as well.
Yeah, it's definitely in your head.
But I feel like sometimes some material goes differently. Maybe there's like, this is a bit too mainstream.
Yeah, because you're thinking of the audiences as white and black. That's why.
But like, why did you start doing urban shows? Is that something you wanted to do? Did you feel like an obligation to do it?
What I wanted to do, and they pay well. They pay on time. So there was that. And, sometimes you just want to try to test yourself and see how different things work.
Was it an easy transition?
The thing is, I feel like you and I guess Ola deals with this as well a lot because you lot didn't come up the way I came up in terms of you grew up on ends and hung around big numbers of black people from a very young age. So you went to public school and you're educated, and there's this thing in the black community, if you're educated and you speak well, then we say you're acting white. Right. You know what I mean? It's from that self-hate, whatever. And so you kind of struggle with that image of, you don't fit in with black people per se, but you're black.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But white people see you the same way. They see you as all of us. But you know that when you get in front of a black audience, because like you said, you're not cool.
Yeah.
If Kay walks out in a black audience, Mo walks out in a black audience, myself, Dane, we have that air of cool. So there's acceptance immediately.
There's also a certain relatability in your topics that they're going to get straight away that I might not have. Okay. Do you know what I mean?
Again, I don't, you know what it is? Because I've done both scenes and I used to think like that. Like certain jokes they won't get and certain jokes these people will get. I mean, people used to treat the black audience as stupid. Yeah. Like they're like stupid jokes. Do you see what I'm saying? But that's all you've given to that audience.
Yeah, but like, surely if Jack Whitehall came out to like an urban crowd and was talking about milk for 7 minutes, it probably wouldn't go as well.
They would love him.
They would love him?
Yeah, because he's Jack Whitehall on stage.
Nah, I'd love him for 2 minutes.
They'll love him for 2 minutes, but they'll give him the benefit of the doubt with the milk material.
But like,
You got to talk about random white guy.
I worked with him in like Balham, and like, you know, it's all just like middle class white people. And he's talking about the 7 different milks, and everyone's like, "Fucking yes!" Like,
okay,
like that was
I don't think black people.
like I had a dream. You know?
Right,
Like this is crazy.
I don't think black people will.
You must have really honed that because I saw that 2 months ago. It wasn't that.
Oh, dude, it absolutely crushed.
Yeah?
Like,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
crazy.
I can
And
imagine it crushing
I was
it.
like, I was right there with my fucking takeaway coffee cup, being like, this milk shit is good.
But here's the thing: if
I
you
got
do
oat
that-
milk in the fridge at
if you
home.
did
I
that
get it.
If you did that to a predominantly black audience, it might not hit the way it hits with white people.
Yeah.
It might get a lot of love in the sense where, you know, you love Jack Whitehall and he's on stage. It might not hit home if a random white guy did it because I don't know how much I don't know anything about the 7 different types of milk.
Yeah.
But I would appreciate the effort put into creating that joke. You see what I'm saying? Like the 7
Yeah.
deadly words by
Is it not that they also want to? It's alright to say maybe as a collective, black audiences and white audience, maybe they want different things. Maybe there's more energy involved needed in a black performance.
They both want to laugh.
More performative element.
they both want to laugh.
Well, I
more
mean, but
performative.
surely, like, the reason that there are 2 separate things is because the audiences do want different things a little bit.
The reason why there's 2 separate things because we're a segregated society.
I
That's
went
why.
to in my 6th form. There was 2 sections like to chill, and the black area we called the ghetto, and the white area called the suburbs. And like no one,
What?
Can you see the mental? Can you see the mental ramifications of slavery and colonialism?
no one told us to do that. It was
Let watch him finish this joke. On the Monopoly board, what's the black area?
I haven't played Monopoly in so long.
But what's the black area Monopoly board?
It's the brown part.
Mooch, what's the black area Monopoly board?
I ain't saying. Second prize at a beauty contest.
Old
Everybody
Kent
knows
Road,
it's
bro.
go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, I did assume that's where it happened.
I didn't even
just
make that
work-
link.
just
See, I'm more
working
free
through
than
the
you.
joke
I'm more free than
logically.
you. I didn't make that link.
That would get a
jokes,
killer.
by the way.
That would get an applause.
That or Old Kent Road.
That was okay. When I first dabbled with the joke, I wrote Old Kent Road. But then someone did and said, you know, they said there's no black places on Monopoly, man. This game's racist. This means there is a black place. They called it go to prison. The whole room went off. I was just like, oh my God, we hate each other.
But that's
Right.
How did you feel about that when you told that joke?
When I wrote that joke,
Yeah.
the Old Kent Road thing.
Yeah.
That's when when I look back at some of the stuff I used to write, I really realized how I looked at black people as a negative. How I just knew that as long as I associated negativity with blackness, there's going to be a funny at it.
Could you tell like in the laugh? Because I have a couple of jokes about like indigenous people, and I remember one time just the way that they laughed at this joke. I was like, oh, this is gross. Like this is because it's a joke.
I had
about,
that with white people though, not black people.
yeah, this is Australia, so white people.
Right.
But yeah, this is like about indigenous deaths in custody.
Yeah.
And like the way they laughed at it was like, isn't it good? I was like, no. Like, no.
Well, I did one about Polish people when I'm talking about Brexit, and I said I'm sad they have to go. And the joke, as I say, is because I say we were kind of nervous when they first came because they made us look bad. And I was like, but we were her first, man. At the end of the joke, I say we were her first, man. So fuck them. And people clapped. He said to me, oh shit, stop doing that joke.
Shut it down. Yeah.
They didn't get what I meant. They clapped like we agree. I was like, oh, no. So yeah, I've had that moment, but not. I've had moments where I've said stuff in front of black people, but I know it's ignorant,
Right.
and I know I shouldn't be saying stuff like that.
About black people.
Yeah,
To black people.
Yeah, so I don't do that no more.
I mean, I think there's kind of like, yeah, I can do that like with Australia, like some like jokes, like ignorant Australia jokes, and like to Australians, it's like we all know
Walkabout
that it's
jokes.
fine, like you know. But if I'm saying that to like English people, it's like I'm ratting them out, you know, like it's kind of weird.
Yes, like I don't do the accent
Right.
in the main rooms.
You don't do the accent in the main rooms,
Even when I talk about in the black room, I do the accent,
Really?
but not in the main rooms.
As in like for your parents, I assume.
When I'm talking about my parents,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even do my
Yeah.
parents' jokes in front of white people.
I guess you can't control the context.
No,
that's being
because
taken.
they will only laugh because they just hear an African accent.
But that is also kind of
Yeah.
why it's funny though.
That's not why it's funny. The why it's funny
But
is my words are written,
traditionally,
motherfucker. No, that's
traditionally,
because
a
Nigerians.
lot of the Nigerian jokes right that I've heard, jokes have been weak if they just said it in a normal accent.
What do you mean?
A lot of the jokes
Well,
where
they lean
people
on
use
it.
a Nigerian accent.
What do you mean? Like Nigerian comics or British comics that use Nigerian
Just
accent?
any joke I've heard where someone's been using a Nigerian accent, right? Most of the time, I'm like, all right, if they just said that British voice, is that actually?
You could say that about a Cockney accent though.
So then the voice is part of why it's funny then.
No, because my material, the voice is nothing. It's the context that is funny.
Because there's most people doing an exaggeration on the voice.
Yeah.
Most of our parents don't sound.
No,
as,
they
like,
don't, and that's why I don't do it. Because I just feel like everyone's been trained to laugh at an African accent.
I mean,
And
just I
don't
think
like that.
any parental accent like tends to go pretty well in a white room. Like I've seen Australia, like the Indian one. Like I've seen like the
I don't-
Chinese one.
But don't you feel like as a comedian, it's almost like it becomes like a fucking Achilles heel, if you like. Like the room's going bad. All right, here we go. You know, I put the kettle in the pot, and everyone starts laughing. You're like, nah.
yeah, it's a crutch for sure.
Yeah.
But
That's funny because of the voice.
Yeah, but that's
I
not
put
funny,
the kettle
man.
in the pot. That's
Yeah,
not
that's not
funny.
funny.
I put the kettle in the pot. That's funny, man.
Yeah, but that's not funny.
But
though.
do your parents have that accent though?
My parents have a Nigerian accent,
Yeah.
definitely.
What about yours, Michael?
Nah, not really.
Because like my friend in Australia,
Your parents
I
were
always
born here.
My mom came here up pretty early.
Okay.
right.
So yeah.
I joke with my friend in Australia that like the reason he's not famous is because he doesn't do the accent. Like, because that in Australia, like we're still there
Yeah.
comedically. Like, you know, just do that accent. Everyone's like, this is fucking great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do that.
And I'm like, dude, you just got to do it. And he's like, man, my mum speaks
if I
perfect
do, I
English.
switch
like, I
between-
can't. I
But
can't
why do any
it.
accent then if it's not part of the joke?
Here's the thing. I'm not doing an accent. I'm
But
talking
just
about my
asking
mum
in
and
general.
dad.
Right.
You see
Doing
what I'm
an
saying?
impression of your mum
I'm talking
and
about my mum and dad. So if my
Yeah.
dad came in, if I wanted to say something about my dad, for instance, like my dad, I had this joke about my dad. I bought a tracksuit from America.
Mm-hmm.
It was an Adidas tracksuit, shell toe,
Great.
vintage, nice, all black. It was dope.
Yeah.
I bought the tracksuit home. The joke was my dad borrowed the tracksuit, but he wore it with sandals.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was bad image, it was bad look. Told the joke, everyone loved it. Next day, my dad calls me up because my dad takes my jokes literally.
Right.
Next day, my dad calls me up. Funmi, when did I wear your tracksuit? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, it's funny in the fact that my dad believed that I actually, this story is true. But when you put the accent on, if you say, Funmi, when did I wear your tracksuit? Everyone starts laughing because they hear this bass and this whole exaggeration of a voice. And I
Yeah.
don't like that.
Accents can be funny.
Accents can be funny,
But
but
you want them to be accurate, though. Isn't that the whole thing?
Yeah.
Like, you should be doing
Well-
someone. Like, you shouldn't just be doing...
yes, but I want you to
Like-
laugh at the context of the words, not necessarily the sound.
Yeah, I get
I'm
that.
not sound effects.
What's that big guy, Russell Peters?
Russell Peters, dude. All my Asian mates at school loved him
Yeah.
to death. And, like, he'd be doing, like, the Hong Kong accent.
Yeah.
And, like, they'd be like, yeah, it's a fucking great
they're
Hong
just-
Kong
that's-
accent.
That's when
They're
we were
just
kids.
happy
That was funny.
Yeah,
It
they're
was all part
they're
of it.
just happy. It's like when you do a white accent in front of black people. They crease their
It's
pants.
hilarious.
Wait,
When Eddie Murphy did
Do it in front of white people. We
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
What are you
All
talking
the
about?
time.
Dave Chappelle's one is the best one.
Yes,
I
yeah.
think that's a huge
Eddie
part of his
wasn't
early
better than Eddie
career.
Murphy's white voice.
Ooh, Dave Chappelle's white voice is incredible.
Dave
Dave,
Chappelle's
man,
white voice
come
It's
in
very
here.
subtle. It's very
It's
subtle.
very professional.
No, but it's...
Eddie Murphy puts the high squeaky. You got a white man? He
Yeah.
puts the high squeak on it.
I think Chappelle's is the best because like it's not like dumb white people. It's just white people.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's
just a
like
generic-
everyone in
yeah,
like one
the
accent.
generic
I'm like,
white
That's
voice.
impressive.
But what I mean is when I don't use the accent is I just know people find the African accent just from whatever you're saying. And I just need to know that
It's a
what I'm
crutch.
saying is funny as opposed to the sounding of my voice.
But I mean, I think it's fine to like not use it, test that out, and then bring it back to double the laugh. Like, come on, man, we're all fighting up there. Like, what? It's
Whatever works from B.
Showing
Just
some
do it.
laughs,
Just get
man.
it done.
No, I don't get me wrong. I just don't, in my 20-minute sets at clubs, I never use
So
that.
that means you feel like you have a responsibility when you go on stage, bringing it back.
As a black person,
Yeah.
As a Nigerian.
as a Nigerian.
As a
All right.
black
Now we're talking,
person.
not as a black person, as a Nigerian.
So if
Well-
you're albino, you'd feel that.
I'll do the Jamaican accent all day if you make people laugh.
I mean, so just out of that thing, like as a black person, what about BAME? That's like I've never heard that apart from here.
What about Bane?
Is it shit?
I
hate it. I hate it.
I blame them.
No one uses that though. I've never heard anyone
I
say.
mean, white
which black
journalists use it.
which black person have you ever seen come out on TV and said, thanks to Bane,
Dude, never. But
this
like,
career's popping off,
what does
rude
that
boy.
stand for?
Black, Asian, minority, ethnic groups, innit?
Yep.
Why would I care about
Yeah.
like Asian? stuff?
Because black Asians were cast as black back then.
what?
Yeah, in the 80s.
But why? You got black people around. I can see why Australia might do it.
Well, that's what happens when you live in a
I
white
think it's just, like,
society.
grouping us
You
all
think white people have
together.
time to do all the paperwork?
Right,
Let's just call them black.
Yeah.
So they were all boxed as black back then.
But BAME seems like a new thing. That seems like a recent invention.
No one
And, like,
uses
I
it,
don't
though. I've
know
not heard
why.
it.
BAME is white people's idea to tackle inequality.
Right, just group them all together.
Yeah.
Swear to God, Mike.
Grid them all together and let's just hope for the best. Think about it, yeah. You said I'm English. You said I'm British. Well, you said this is your country.
Well, you're born here. You got a passport.
If
What more do you
this
want?
was my country, why would I need BAME?
What? I don't know.
You know what I mean? Why would there be a program? Why would there be a program called Kick Racism Out of Football in your own country? Do you hear Kick Racism Out of Football in Russia? No. Well, they do, but do you know what I mean? Like, the league is predominantly Russians, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need these things
They
in
don't
a
have that
country.
they don't have that in hurling.
right. You know, if
Get
this was my
racism out of
country,
hurling.
I'd be dealing with the same things. If this was my country, I'd be voting out.
If you voted out.
Yeah, I'd be voting out. If this was my country,
Right.
I'd be in solidarity with the nation. Leave means leave.
Right.
But I'm like, no, let's not leave. You're going to fuck up my situation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when people say this is my country, it's like, yeah, but I was born here, but that's not the makings of you being part of a nation. It's like when they cover knife crime. Do you think knife crime is a black issue or a nation issue?
I
When
think
you
it's
look
a
at it-
London issue. Thank you. Vote for me, Daniel Muggleton. Thank you very much.
That was a good one, Dan.
Thank you.
But when you look at the papers,
We're
you seem
very
to think,
diplomatic. That's why we're sneaky.
if you read the papers, you think to yourself,
it's not a black stabbing, Stone.
right, so what do you think? What does that mean to you?
It's a black issue then.
Right, so what a black issue in a country. So you're saying to me stabbing is secluded to black people.
I'm saying that there's that mix of like, okay, institutional shit.
So
but
is
also-
paedophilia a white problem?
Yes.
Yeah, you can have that.
Totally.
You can
But
have
there's
that.
paedophilia in every community.
Yeah, but we're the best at it. It's definitely us.
So
It's
how
like the
come?
Midlands,
How
like Asians
come?
doing it too.
Then how come?
Asians doing what? Pedophilia?
Yeah,
Or?
in
If-
Midlands.
Yeah, but it doesn't get the same coverage.
If that's the case, then how come there's no fear of white men when it comes to young kids?
There absolutely is.
No, I don't see it.
Of
I
course you
don't
don't
see
see
it.
it. 'Cause
You
you're
don't
not
get
a white
pulled
guy.
over.
Because you're not a white guy. You see me in a park near a playground?
But hold on, you're saying you see you in a park.
Yeah.
Just see me anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't just get stabbed in a park.
Where'd you get stabbed?
Anywhere. In London.
But dude-
in London.
But if you think about it, are you scared of being stabbed in London?
Absolutely not. Because I'm a white guy.
I'm not scared of being stabbed either.
Why not?
I don't really do that.
Right. Can you
Yeah,
see?
You know?
What?
Because when you grow up in that neighborhood, you see the knife crime issue.
Right.
When you grow up in that neighborhood, you understand how it happens and why it happens.
Uh-huh.
I'm never afraid of London. It's the safest place in the world,
Right.
even with all the stabbings, because I'm not in that crowd. I'm not in that world. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a world of people.
But you got to remember,
that
I
have gone
come
out of
from
control.
Australia where there's just no crime.
Well, there was. Oh, that was
Like,
New Zealand.
at all. Like, it's insane. Like,
You mean the white side of Australia?
No.
Dan?
I mean, the indigenous communities are different, but that's like a remote thing. That's very.
Stop trying to brush it under the carpet.
I'm not
man.
trying to brush under. I'm not trying to brush under the carpet.
That's a socioeconomic
There's
thing.
just no way that I can thoroughly.
Just that one big
address
crime, man.
that
Apart
issue.
from that, you guys been good.
Other than that, though, Dan.
That was genocide. That was a long time. So I'm just saying, like in Australia, deaths at music festivals, like in Sydney where I'm from, that's like a big thing.
Like for
One
money,
person dying from an ecstasy overdose at a music festival once every 3 months, and they're like, we need to crack down on that.
When I went to Canada, the biggest thing that made the papers, these kids killed a dog.
Yeah.
Made the front line. I said that won't make the Hackney Gazette. That wouldn't even make the Hackney Gazette.
All right, we're about to wrap up. I got one last question for both of you. If you had to live anywhere in the world apart from London, where would you live?
Nigeria.
In Nigeria?
Yeah, man.
Where in Nigeria?
Well, I grew up in Lagos when I was like between 10 and
Because
16.
that's a huge city. I didn't realize how big Lagos was. Like 21 million?
Nigeria is massive.
But 21 million in a city, that's double London.
They're not supposed to be in there.
They're not supposed to be in there.
It's overcrowded.
Uh-huh.
But I'd live in Nigeria, maybe not Lagos. I'll try to get like a more peaceful place
Sure.
where it's not as hustle and bustle. Maybe my dad's area, but definitely Nigeria.
And Michael? Is there anywhere that appeals?
Brooklyn.
maybe like Kenya or like
Kenya.
Hawaii. One of those two.
Kenya or Hawaii?
Yeah.
Those are very different
I feel like
choices.
just like little like chill places. I feel like we're alright there.
Kenya looks like a nice place.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to like other African countries, like apart from Nigeria?
We should start a movement where we
You know
holiday
what?
in Africa.
I am going to start visiting the continent more. Nigeria, again, man, we're so trained to hate our continent.
Visit
and our homes.
Rwanda.
Right. Via Rwanda, have you heard good things?
You know, I want to go to Liberia. I want to go to Ghana. I want to go to Sierra Leone, Kenya, Senegal. I want to go to
The black ones.
So I want to go to South Africa.
I'm not going to Morocco or Egypt.
I'm not going to Morocco or Egypt or none of the Arab countries. I love Arab people.
Yeah.
I love you, Mooch. Love you. But I'm not going to Morocco and them places yet.
Well, so that's one thing with Nigeria. Like the top is Muslim, the bottom bit's Christian.
And the middle is East.
Whatever.
East, whatever.
East
where are you guys
Igbos.
from? You said well, Lagos.
Where Yorubas?
Yorubas.
So
West
from the
Africa.
West Side.
Okay.
But Lagos is not in the West.
Lagos is not in the West.
No, it's
okay.
actually in the South, isn't it?
But I'm not going to the north of Nigeria. Ugh.
I studied in the north of Nigeria.
You're not going to the north and
I went
north.
to school.
Haram and that live.
Yeah, not great press from the north.
Boko Haram live.
They still haven't given back those girls, you know.
Do you know?
We need them back.
You know the funny thing. The funny thing about all those terrorist groups is like, I'm not going to Nigeria. Boko Haram are there. It's like, really?
I mean, that's all we get. That's all we get in the media. That's the drip we get in the media.
It's like if you went to America, I'm like, that's like me saying I'm not going to America. The police kill black people there.
They still
Yeah.
owe us like 15 girls. They got 15 girls that they haven't given back yet.
It's just funny to me when people say that. You know, my friend was like to me, I wouldn't want to go to Nigeria for me. I'm scared of getting kidnapped. At first, I thought, first of all, who wants to kidnap you?
Dude, I googled Nigeria this morning, and the first like little Google's question is like, "Is Nigeria safe?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's find out if Nigeria is safe."
You know the
and
funny
then they
thing,
said
again-
Westerners get kidnapped all the time.
Did you know that algorithms are racist?
Do you know what it is? This is why I
I'm
say
being serious.
our PR team needs to step up their game. You can pay for that and get the top search for Nigeria, great country.
Yeah.
No, it's just a
Just
Google
type
thing.
type in black people into Google and see what the options are.
All right, I'll do it right now.
Okay. And then you'll see that the algorithms, they do
It's
inform
just the
a
wrong
lot
type of
about
rhythm.
Society.
Yeah, even if you type in English person,
I got black people. I got black people movies,
Okay.
black people comedy movies,
Okay.
and black people hairstyles.
Okay.
nice.
Okay. Type in black people are.
No, don't do that.
Black people are. Oh, it's not giving me any extra options. Mitch, can you do this? Can you do it up? Black people are. No, it's giving me nothing.
Nothing.
The
Black
black
people are. Shame on you.
Are there black Irish?
Okay. This is quite
Do people Google these things?
I think this must mean that I'm not racist. My Google,
yeah,
my
yeah.
Google's
Your
like,
algorithms
hey,
are
man,
protecting you.
Your cookies
Yeah,
are
it doesn't
clean.
come up with
my
a.
cookies are clean.
Yeah.
Cookies are clean, guys.
You know what it
Okay,
is? Yeah. So I think someone did that for the internet, like screenshotted some
They're like, yeah, we
madness.
can't do this.
yeah,
Can't keep doing this.
All right.
Oh, your cookies are pretty woke. You guys got woke cookies.
Thanks, man. I do a lot of googling to make up for it. I do all my racist shit incognito.
Ask Jeeves and things.
If you did that in my
Yahoo
cookies,
search history is a fucking.
All right, let's check your Bing. Like that's.
hey, how do you get Bing off your main search? Because I didn't ask for it.
You didn't answer it.
No.
We'll hook you up after the podcast, guys.
I don't
where
think
can
this should be
people-
part of the pod. That shit.
Where can people find you, Michael Odewale? Where can people find
Look me up on Insta, Michael Odewale Comedy.
you?
Same.
Spell Odewale for the white people.
For the whites, it's ODEWALE comedy, and got all my dates on there. Same on my Twitter
Great,
and my Facebook.
sweet. Funmbi?
At Funmbi on Twitter, at Funmbi _Omotayo on Instagram. Live show on the 5th of November.
Remember.
The taping.
Remember the 5th. Yeah, man. Remember the 5th of
He's
November.
gonna do a one-man rendition
I'm
of Beef
doing
Vendetta.
a one man of fighting white supremacy. It's gonna be my last show. Like I said, get killed for that. No, I'm joking. It's gonna be a great night.
What's it called?
Black and British.
Black and Brit Dash-ish.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So
Strong.
we're
At the
gonna
Backyard
touch on the
Comedy
things.
Club.
At the Backyard Comedy Club, man. It's gonna be a great night. Tickets are available on my socials, on the links and whatnot. Get your tickets, people. They're selling out fast. And yeah.
Nice. Guys, thank you so much for coming down. The
Thanks
way
for
we
having
finish
us,
the
man.
podcast is you guys say cheers, mate, at the same time. You ready?
I knew
Count
that
us
I
in.
wouldn't have come.
Yeah,
Count us in.
count
You
you
know,
in.
we're black people. We got
1,
timing.
2, 3.
Cheers,
Cheers,
mate.
mate.
Fucking crushed it. All right. Cheers, guys. Catch you next week. Thank you.
Right, that was an in-depth discussion.
The Union Jackoff with Daniel Muggleton.